could sit here and read live commercials and just make tons of money for the company. I could tell you the same thing over and over again.
I can't be tagged as the guy who's a dick.
They must be so jealous of me. I'm so successful, and they're just kind of not. You know what I mean? I feel the jealousy. That's why I don't leave my house. Don't you also sort of harbor some resentment, even though it's not logical, but you resent your baby for being in the way of your career?
Because we don't want the Japs anymore.
Because I want respect. Some people say our show was the first reality show. I don't think there's one thing I've ever said on the radio that would have been found indecent or obscene. The secret to my show is honesty, reality, that I will say the truth.
Guess who?
And I don't think there's anything wrong with, you're from Australia, and I know you get typecast a lot. Oh, it's Mr. Australia, and a lot of times most times it's unfairly that you don't have anything going on except being Australian. That's on the list of your qualities. That's probably number 10. And so obviously your country is going to phonetically want to pronounce something with the CH, chutzpah, instead of chutzpah. Who even created that word that the C is there in the first place and thought it was a good idea to leave a silent C? Who would even make that word up? So I don't fault you at all for that mistake, at all.
It's a silent C.
Why,
Yeah.
right? Who's decided that? We have some dumb ass things in the English language and Yiddish language, I might add. There's a lot. The Yiddish love sex stuff too. They love schmeckel, which is means dick, and they love shtup, which means F, and they love you know what I mean?
So it's cha,
Yes.
pa
Chutzpah.
is
Right.
or.
Who you were taught to pronounce things? Look, sound it out, right? We were taught as kids, sound it out, phonetically. Well, you did that.
Yeah.
You did that. There's
So
Melvin.
yours, it's not cha. It's
Chutzpah.
who say it?
Chutzpah. Chutzpah. Melvin's got. Look at Melvin's pronunciation here. Chutzpah. Trimspa. Chutzpah. Now I'm from.
We've
Long
been on
Island.
this for 10 minutes and I still can't get it. That's what's weird.
Yes, tendrils. I should try French with Lily
my
Rose
gosh.
Depp. Right? So many fake letters in that. Look, I'm from Long Island. I have a distinct advantage over you and anyone else from this country. I'm from really ground zero. Little Israel, for Christ's sake, is Nassau County. And even though I'm Roman Catholic, I'm half Polak and half Italian, I have a lot of Jewish friends. And from that, and they Meshuggahs, yes, sunflower dragon, Meshuggahs. How are you supposed to say? There's an N in that, right? Where's the N? So she's Meshuggahs. She pronounced it right, and then there's actually an N when you pronounce it. Why? Why don't you write the N out? What is so difficult?
It was. Well, you know, we're here to learn, I guess. It's like when I try to teach everyone to say water. It's not as easy as you think it is. No. Look
at Mr. D. Yiddish is a language that is consumed with sexual references and a lot of Me Too in the Jewish culture in Hollywood. A lot of Me Too guys, like, you know, it's endless. Weinstein and Epstein and consumed with sexual references and words. We can think that for a minute, saving the Friedmans. Thank you, Thank you, Mr. D. PCPBO, welcome. All About the Tendrils, welcome. Autobot, welcome. Kylo Sierra Alpha, welcome. I saw Kathy Scott up there, she's a Depp head, which is always a great compliment that she'd even say. I would try to make as many Depp references as possible. And I will say this, Kathy, and I will say this. We have just, we just finished Jump Street episode 21, oddly enough, fittingly, season 2. That is now 13 plus 34 Jump Streets in the can, and we're coming towards the end of season 2, and then Greco will start right after that, and that should be just a nice twist. And
Blacks, Jews, Hispanics, whatever. And people. Death! Greco!
And I don't know if you want in on that, Bon. I know you're a big Greco fan, and
Oh,
I hate men.
That's Kathy right there with an I hate men. That's such a great drop. One of my favorite drops.
I'll pop in. You know.
It's probably going to be like, I don't know, 6 in the evening Eastern time or something like that. I'm imagining. Crazy Robin. Yeah, she calls you Bon Bon, Crazy Robin, as a nickname, by the way. Bon Bon.
Yeah, they called me. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Super Bon Bon. That's a song.
Oh God, what's the name of that band? Oh shit.
Soul Coughing.
Yes. I always confuse them with Chemical Brothers or something like that. Remember that band that goes, I said hallelujah, 16, tell me it's time to get down on your motherfucking knees. So that maybe we should do the Robin thing right after that segment, right?
Yeah, you should do the Robin thing. I'm ready to go with that. So
I think Lauren Marie corrected me that that's not the name of the band. It's some weird name that. So you want me to put this thing you just gave me here?
Yeah, dude.
Okay. Or you want me to do Robin first?
No, you do Robin. Robin, I guess. Yeah.
Robin turned 72 today. I just realized. And Sara made a video just for the occasion. And we're going to have to play around with the fucking copyright stuff. So Bonnie on the spot, I said to him like 2 minutes before we went on, do you have any public domain music? So in 2 seconds, he pulls this thing up and I'm like, I thought it was the same song as Korn. It was so close.
I know. It's what can I say?
It's crazy.
I'm the best. It's tough being the best sometimes,
it is.
John. You know that. I mean, God.
Tina Turner knows it better than anyone does. And this is Sara's Robin Quivers. See you next Tuesday birthday video. I'm going to play the first 5 seconds of hers. And then you'll continue.
I'm going to hit it. I'm going to count to 5.
Okay.
Yeah, ready? I'm ready. I'm ready.
I used to be a nurse.
Y'all want a single say suck that.
Ready?
Suck that.
Go. Good job. Damn it, that was flawless. Wow, that was so seamless. That was so good. I think it's the same. I still think it's the same song. That's her doing Korn.
Yeah.
Sara's name is Horsetooth Beth, and that's the acronym on the bottom. CHT. Who is Bon Bon? Come on, that sounds like Eddie Money. Just like Ronnie says, just like Ronnie says, be my little baby.
Oh my God, isn't that awful?
Take me home tonight. Okay. Look at Dominic backing her in.
Yeah.
I love this video. We got to go over this sometime.
Oh yeah, I want to. Go Robin.
Oh my God. Oh, that arm wrestle. That's right. We went over that. Look at the plunging neckline on Howard. Button up your shirt, old man. Oh, that's Busey. Sara's got it all in here.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Here comes Ronnie. 30 seconds too late, as usual.
Oh my gosh, that's a good one.
Hallelujah is a good one. Thank you, Melvin. Right, the Low Fidelity All-Stars. That's the band. Thank you, Melvin. Did you ever watch the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire charity episode? On Kevin Nealon.
No.
And Dennis Leary, Kevin Nealon. A lot of people that knew. Holden, welcome, sir. I said hi to Tendrils, PCP.
Yo, PCPP, yo, what's up?
Bond, do you have the? It's too late. I was gonna play the hip hop song.
You want to do the hip hop?
The one you showed me right after that one.
Yo, PCP, you mofo in the house. Go, John. Take a verse.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Salt and pepper heavy D up in the limousine.
What is that from?
You're damn right, mother
30 seconds.
F-O. We got the chutzpah in the house with the kids in the backyard.
You gotta make a song chutzpah.
Yo, what's
JMD,
my man?
welcome Twitter and JMD. I said hi to Autobot. He'll be on soon.
The guy's name is Autobot. It's not AI. If you say AI, he'll say no, it's not. It's A-L. A to the L. I'm a truck driver. My name is Autobot Al.
Can I make an observation?
Sure.
So you Aussies, and you hear it with Silverchair and Rick Springfield and Brits. You just eradicated your Australian accent when you sang. You sounded American.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you sounded completely American right there.
Some of it must sound Australian. Like if I try to sing like an American man, some of that's gotta sound Australian at some point, man. Some point with my man ARM. See, I am doing, like ARM instead of going, I don't know what it is, John, but it's something that, because you know how much I love music. It's like, it's an ode to America because most of my favorite bands are American. So I just want to thank you.
Were you ever in the rap game? Were you ever involved in the rap game at all?
Yeah, I did. I loved NWA.
Oh, me too.
If you just mean listening, I was never a rapper, no. But my friends were in a hip hop group, and they used to play gigs all the time. And I used to go, and it was like a hoedown, man. It was a party. You go to those gigs, and they're so unlike rock gigs. Like where everyone at rock gigs like nodding their head, just trying to be cool. You go to hip hop gigs, and people are just losing their minds, happy. Yeah. They're all hugging each other and stuff. It's just crazy.
Yeah, Robin was playing dead in that. That's true. Sitting lakeside. Thank you, Quitter. Dominic, that's JMD said that. Sunflower Dragon said Dominic did grab her ass while they were playing basketball. That's very true. And that's what Robin. Well, you can't back someone in, Sunflower, and not grab ass. I mean, every time Barkley backed in against like an Otis Thorpe, there's some ass play. There's got to be. You could construe it as a 3-second violation. If I don't construe that as a move to the basket, I can call a 3-second violation on that if he's dicking around too much. No pun intended. Robin's appearance on Jeopardy, yes. NWA and me, Bon, have a very special history because, my nickname is kind of inspired by them because I thought it was so cool to have an acronym as a nickname. And I was a huge wrestling fan, and National Wrestling Alliance is where N-words with attitudes kind of is derived from. And so because it said, I'm like, what? The wrestling acronym? Who is this? And they started listening. And I loved Straight Outta Compton, and Cedric Sabalos is from Compton. So I became a huge fan of theirs and individually. And then my nickname, ARM, which stands for All Rebounds Are Mine, was really inspired by that because of the acronym of it all. And Arm
I love it now.
Yeah.
This is origin stories. Yeah, I like that.
And in a 99% white school, if not more, it was very odd. There was a lot of outliers, and me and 3 of my friends were the only ones listening to that stuff.
So you were the opposite.
In addition to other stuff, but I like all music. I don't typecast myself, but that was one of the genres. And
you were the opposite to Howard. You went to a 99% white school.
Well, so did he in Rockville Center.
Yeah.
He didn't go to Roosevelt.
Oh,
I've been to Roosevelt more than he has in the last 20 years, as a matter of fact. I was going to do a Stern reality tour in Roosevelt, and I didn't have the right. I didn't have smartphones weren't far enough along at that point. It was like, Virgin Mobile, and I could do it now, I guess. was just going to go around.
I want you to do it now.
Speaking of doing it now, so you gave me this, and I'm going to put this to the side. Tell me what this is. You sent me something to put in the state. But I believe you have access to do that. Sarah gave you access to do that too, right?
Yeah, I'm loaded. I'm loaded up, and thank you, Sarah. So, I'll do that. So, that's for people who, if you didn't know what we were talking about at the start of the show, I got it. What it is now being called the Chutzpah incident, and here's what happened. He still sounds upset that Stern decided to quit after her father's notoriously zealous listeners discovered her identity. She quit the show just when it started to sell, he said, and now they have chutzpah. They have the chutzpah to sue.
Chutzpah. That's Aussie saying. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's a great drop.
I'll get a drop of me saying I will get a drop.
I like your pronunciation better. Why is there a C in there anyway? You're right. It should be phonetically.
Yeah, and we went crazy on it, and obviously now it's chutzpah. Now it's a drop. Someone was asking if it's going to be a drop. It has to be drop. But what I love the most about it is your reaction, John.
Chutzpah. That's Aussie saying. I love it. I love it. I love it.
You went crazy.
I did go crazy because I knew it was an honest mistake, and it was not just an honest mistake, a noble mistake, because you phonetically sounded it out, and that's what you're supposed to do if you don't know the fucking word. Why would you know Yiddish? Why would you know it? And also, I'd never seen it written out until years after I'd heard the word. And when I'm like, what? I probably was like, I probably had to have it pointed out to me, but I remember reading it. I'm a reader, I'm a music listener. And I just said, like, what the fuck is a C doing there? And because I'm from Long Island, I know the word, and you have no business knowing it. And it's a noble mistake, my friend. Very noble. Public Enemy and Run DMC, I love too. Public Enemy is from Roosevelt, as a matter of fact. Chuck D, Flava Flav. It's really amazing, Roosevelt, but you have, let's say Howard's from Roosevelt for 5 minutes, right? Let's humor him. You have how many people at the top of their industry from this little town, right? You have Howard in radio. Let's like him or not, like hate him now. He is the most famous to ever do it. And you got Howard in radio. You have Eddie Murphy in comedy. You have Dr. J, Julie Serving, in basketball. And you have Flava Flav in the rap game. I mean, these guys, you could take all four and you could say they're all in the top 3 to 5 in their respective fields of entertainment. This little town in Long Island. It's really crazy.
That's weird.
It is weird.
What are you talking? How small? Like 5,000, 10,000 people or something like that?
It's barely a town. Like it's like kind of like an offshoot of like Freeport and Hempstead. And it's one of the smaller towns in Nassau County, if you want to call it a town. And the government took over the school. But to have that level of icons, all the Hall of Fame in their respective industries, is really crazy. And I don't think it gets enough attention. I don't understand. Like Eddie Murphy, Flava Flav, Dr. J, and Howard. It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, that is. What are the odds? Millions to one.
Sidney Clausen said everybody sings with an American accent when they start. That's really, it seems like it.
But what if they're singing, it's 12 o'clock and it's a wonderful day.
How many people?
You hate me, but I'll ask. Oh, well, he said ask. Anyway, which is American. If Daniel Johns was singing Australian, he would have said, I know you hate me, but I'll ask anyway. See? But he went ask because they knew they were going for the American audience at that point.
I feel that's how some of the great actors and actresses, like you have some of the greatest actors in Hollywood, from no doubt about it. Hugh Jackman is on a huge role. Not as he's just Wolverine, but he's a really good actor. And I go over this list all the time. Russell Crowe, on and on and on. Kate Winslet from England, I believe that they trained with American accent by singing. That's my feeling. I really
Maybe they do. I don't even know. I've never thought about it, but I might even look that up while we're talking, because that does fascinate me. That's piqued my interest.
Piquued, right?
Yeah, and you could make a mistake on that if you just saw it written. we could go into a whole. We could do lessons on that, maybe for the Patreon, just on English speaking.
The Jews would put a G in front of that, and a silent
Wow.
G. Just
That just blew my mind thinking about it with a silent G in there.
a silent G in front of it. But so happy birthday, Robin Quivers, the highest paid newswoman. She turned 72, but she reads on an 85-year-old level, as a test to any newscast that she does. maybe higher. Might go as high as 91. AWA says J.I. Young. Aborigines with attitudes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's really funny. I don't know the Avalanches. I'm sure Bond does, JMD.
Oh, they're a huge band. Yeah? They're seminal. There's another word for you. People call them for sampling and all that stuff that you get. You know, all those groups, all that stuff. They're huge. Yes, can't believe they're from Australia actually, because they're so known. Continue.
Yeah,
yes, Sean.
No. I said, Brizzo, do not give away the score. I'm going to watch it after this. I heard it was a very strange game, Jokic-wise. You remember the album that came out, B-Balls Kept Secret? It had rap stores. I did not see that, Autobot. Yeah, Cedric Ceballos was a point-a-minute, really underrated small forward in the 90s, really, is his era. He's from Cal State Fullerton, and he was a six-man, came off the bench initially. He was a point-a-minute guy, great offensive rebounder for it. He played in the UNLV division in college basketball, some of the Big West, when the Big West first started. And he made an all-star team once. He played for the Lakers, he played for the Suns, he played for the Mavericks, and he was a really good player for about 5 seasons or so. And he's from Compton. And he's the first guy. I remember like reading the NBA Register and seeing Compton, and I was like, wow, somebody's actually from Compton. And I loved him before that. And he just became one of my favorite players. And today, DeMar DeRozan is from Compton, as a matter of fact. There's another guy, too. I forget who. That's the Proclaimers, Smith. That's the Benny and June. We were just talking about Benny and June before this, because I thought that the first song Bond played to public domain music sounded exactly like Temple of the Dog, Pushing Forward Back, Cornell and Eddie Vedder. And that is on the Benny and June soundtrack, when Depp as Sam is cleaning the ceiling with the broom, and he's zipping around on like an ottoman. That's a rolling ottoman. You remember that scene where he's in Benny and June, he's cleaning up, and he's playing Temple of the Dog, and the movie is set in, I believe, Tacoma, Washington, or not Seattle, but in one of the other cities in Washington. Let's do it now. And so, yeah, Temple of the Dog is playing in that, and they did, I don't mind stealing bread from the man. And that's another song on the album. A lot of people don't realize they had an album together. Similar to Prince's Tendrils, Being Born with a Very Small Radius, Something in the Water Over There. Yes, Tendrils, yes. Flavor Flav, Yo Hoops, Come Get Clock. Population, thank you, Melvin. Population of Roosevelt, 19,223. As of 2022. Thank you, Melvin.
That's tiny.
It is tiny. Melvin, can you do like a race breakdown of it? Race-wise? I'm going to say out of the 19,023, I'm going to say 17,000 black, 2,000 Hispanic, and 1,000 other. Other, not white.
Oh,
other.
Yes, the other. That's big now.
Let's see if I'm right. I'm totally guessing. Similar to Prince, Madonna, Being Born in a Very Small Radius for each other. Yes. There's a lot. I mean, Long Island in general is a ton of celebrities. There's almost no town you can't go to where somebody's Spokane. Thank you, Autobot. Right, Benny and June. I didn't realize it was the mess. Where is Kurt Cobain from again? Aberdeen, Washington. Okay.
Yeah.
I see some stuff there's some stuff on Instagram with Cobain. He has insane followers on that have trudged up all sorts of old pictures of him and videos. It's really sad and amazing some of the stuff these people have. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how they got it either. Like, how would you? Yeah,
I don't know.
It
I
must
don't
have
know.
been kids out of that area or something who had old, I don't know, VHS
He died in
tapes.
94, right? April of 94 or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And speaking of which, there's really something to that age 27 thing. It really
Oh,
is
the
crazy.
27 Club,
Yeah.
it's huge. People go crazy about it.
Mr. D says, Robin Quivers, he's made it to 72 years of age. How the hell is she hanging on? The best, most expensive oncologist. Yes, and no other responsibilities but to cover her own ass and take care of herself, right? I mean, when you have access to all these things and the money with it, and you have no responsibilities but you're going to hang on for a few more years, right, than anybody else would. And I see the end. I smell the end of this show, and it should have ended, God, if they were wise, a decade ago or more, 12 years ago. When Artie left is the obvious thing, right? But to go out, and I say this all the time, Howard is now dangerously risking having more bad years than good. He's very, very close to that. That you could make a case that not just staying on the stage too long and this hideous era what we're in, he's gonna have more bad years than good. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. Like COVID he should have quit.
That should have been it.
Yeah.
It's such a nothing job. It's so
insane.
easy.
Yeah.
It's not work. So that's why someone as lazy as him can just hang around. It isn't work. What is that? It's your own stupid, closeted homosexual proclivities and dilly-dallying with a goldfish brain, and you just don't. People go, oh, that's not ambitious to do that show. There's 70 people working on it. There's nothing he has to. The hardest job is what? Waking up. Just waking up, right? The fact, and it doesn't have to be at that time. He wants it at that time.
Exactly.
There's no point. Arm doesn't mind stealing bread from the mouths of decadence or stealing. I didn't steal Charleston Chews from 7-Eleven. Brendan, if I did, I will own it. I have no problem. Nobody loves, unless he's trying to rhyme. I do not remember stealing Charleston Chews from 7-Eleven. If I did, I'm proud of it, but I don't remember doing that. Jesus, been caught stealing. I don't get caught stealing Perry Farrell, so I'll never get caught stealing.
Yeah, I never have either. I did
quite
some
frankly
nasty
get caught
things
stealing
when I was a kid. I stole a lot of stuff.
Here's Melvin. I'm way off. Look at this. Here's Melvin. Okay, so the racial demographic breakdown for Roosevelt, says Melvin. Black, African American, 50%. I said, what'd I say, 80?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay. Other Hispanic, 20%. White.
Oh, well, there you go.
Hispanic, 15.6%. 2+ Hispanic, 5.3%. Non-Hispanic, 2.4%. I would imagine there's a lot of Middle Easterners there with various bodegas and delis and 7-Eleven. 80. Okay, so Melvin also says 84% of the residents in Roosevelt are U.S. citizens. Ha ha ha! Wow. So there's 16% illegal in Roosevelt. I'm not even sure if that's pretty high, right?
Yeah.
Hey, black guy. Do you know that was so we were going to do a special called Johnny and the Blacks, and Depp's friends, any black people he's ever had association with over the years. And Crazy Robin gave me the green light on it. I got her approval, and it was really based on this Curb Your Enthusiasm moment from one of my favorite episodes when Larry adopts this black family with JB Smoove and Vivica Fox, and they took this Christmas card, which I to this day send to all my friends, and I Photoshop my face where Larry's is.
Oh my God.
So one of my favorite episodes, and the Falcon,
that great black superhero.
Falcon, the winged black superhero.
Hello, Maz. Thanks for the black guy. Hook me up with some coke, will you?
We're shocked, John. You use the N-word a lot.
There's Tamara Francois, and I have her blessing, as a matter of fact, to do it. Jesus, Tamara, I will see you at the Essence Festival again. You get to see my speech next week with the NAACP. I'm on fire. I am on fire lately. I have some real issues I'm going to get off my chest, and I feel really good about my next speech. I really do. I'm going to test it out on Kelly, my next appearance on Kelly and Michael. The Proclaimers, yes, they're Scottish band, and the popularization of that song in the Benny and June soundtrack, the 500 Miles, was Mary Stuart Masterson loved that band, and she passed the CD on to the director, Jeremy, and that's how it got on there. And that song was huge for a while. Right, Vaughn? Right?
Oh my gosh, yeah, incredible, and so. I guess it deserved to be because it's just so crazy. It was great. I wish we could just, I wish we could just play it for a minute in the background, but we can't, But it was just so weird.
Can we ask?
And the video clip? Remember the video clip with the guys? It was just weird.
It was, and I don't think they ever had a second song to that, but they must have made a killing off. And I would walk 500 miles. And it was in every, and it lasted a good 5 years after the movie was dead, And so here's Sara running a tight ship, and I have to play this.
Vinny, it's Mark. Dearest viewers, a new month and a new show. If able, please donate to the Arm Fund, which is how your host gets paid. Super Chat, Venmo, Cash App, or memberships. It all counts. We'll all go. Now put your face in the buttermilk and take a sip. Oh, I love the knee. Welcome to a new arm venture. How do you keep the music playing? How do you make it last? How do you keep the song from playing too fast?
Thank you, everyone.
Beautiful.
We gotta acclimate you to Mark Harris. We really do. I mean, I can't believe you're not into Mark. Well, I mean, like you have a different metronome or radar of what you picked up, and Mark Harris wasn't on your radar.
No, I've never seen anything with him in it. So when you do it, it'll be interesting because I'll be able to be a bit different. I know how much you and David love him. I'll be like, well, let's give this a shot and see what it's like.
I finished Mayor of Kingstown last night,
gosh.
and I never wanted it to end. And there's no doubt they're going to come back with a fourth season, and I told you that. And I think you and I and like a G Canada and someone else, maybe if they've seen, we should do like a review of everything. We should do like a full episode where we just come on and we announce the spoilers and stuff and just talk about that show, because I sort of can't get enough of talking about it. And I recommend that to anybody. Watch all 3 seasons of Mayor of Kingstown. It is the best prison drama ever.
I don't know. How long are we going to have to wait? 8 months? 10 months?
I have a feeling that they have made. I think they're in pre-production already. There's no way they would leave it like that and not have a season 4. They're working on it already.
They're so. It's a beautiful show that, in some ways, I think it's kind of like when they're making the first season, they know that this is so good. Like the executives and everything are thinking it's so good. Like they almost say to them, you'll probably go to 6 seasons unless for some crazy reason it bombs. So now, I mean, the setup was incredible for what's going to happen. So there's no way. I mean, if they'd left it open like that, the production company might have said something. They might have said, All right, well, you just watched the last episode
Yeah,
you
you
made.
can't.
Do you want to just tie up a little more? I don't know what they'd
No,
say,
they
but
can't leave
the,
it like that. No way.
those kind of cliffhangers, and it's a monster cliffhanger for Mike's whole situation. He's just in a turmoil now about what's going to happen because he's caught in a very tough position with the law and his buddy Ian. There's going to be a lot of trouble, and it was a big budget too, like that ending on the what do you call those things? The bridge.
Yeah.
It must have cost a lot of money with helicopters flying around it and everything. That's thousands of dollars a minute probably it was beautiful. It was like a Michael Mann movie almost.
I just gonna say that was a problem I had with it, though. I thought it was too confusing. I thought they should have pulled the camera back and you didn't see who's shooting who, and it's supposed to be chaos, but you're sort of going, where is he at? And they have the tactical gear on, you're not sure where everything is. And I think they needed to either slow it down or pull the camera up so you could see who the fuck's what during it. There's a lot of confusing things going on there.
And we knew that Mike's brother getting into the SWAT team was going to be a bad idea.
Oh yeah, yeah. You
and
can
now
tell
it's
that the second he
rearing
did
its
it.
ugly. Yeah.
Yep.
I was just like, oh God, Mike, what are you going to do? And I don't know what he's going to do writing wise. They've written it so well that I can't work out who he can't take someone out and someone else out. He's in trouble because it's all very high profile.
I think the acting's really good, but I think the actress Emma Laird, who plays Iris, deserves an Emmy for what I think she's fantastic on that
She
show.
was so great, but had such a boring season. All she was doing was just sort of wandering around and snorting
I think she's
drugs.
dead inside. I think she's
Yeah,
dead
oh,
inside.
she's got dead eyes. Chicks with
she's-
dead
that's what
eyes,
she's
you
supposed to do.
just know there's trouble. And that's why Mike was never gonna, he was always steering clear. He just became a father figure and very stoic the way he supported her. He was just like, it was crazy. And God, yeah, I know you did. I felt the sadness that you always feel.
Oh, she'd been through it, and she was almost like on a, I don't want to say death by cop, suicide kind of mission, but she was just like, she straight up said, I don't give a shit anymore, and I'm just gonna, she has nothing to lose. I'm fearless. I don't care if I die, and that's how she carried herself the whole season.
And why would and you would never want to leave Mike because he is like her protector. So
She
if he
doesn't
says
trust
leave,
anyone
she's
but
like,
him.
I'm not going anywhere. I want to stay here and get into all kinds of trouble because I know you're gonna bail me out.
She doesn't trust anybody but him. That's why she doesn't want to leave in the world. Doesn't matter where. She's the first guy she's ever met that didn't double cross her or just didn't use her up and spit her out. So that's why she doesn't want to leave. That the shithole town like that. Here we are. We're doing a review of it. All right, let's get on with it.
I know.
Smith
Sorry, you go for it. What's A. Smith? What is this
Howard's
A.
biggest
Smith
problem.
guy? Here he is.
Howard's-
What's he saying this time, John?
He goes, Howard's the biggest problem he has with the show is just walking down a flight of stairs to do it.
I'm going to make you, John, I'll make you a video drop of Howard needing Beth's help to walk off the stage on Ellen, remember?
Yeah.
I'll make you a drop for next time. I know how much you love that.
J.A. Young said Howard's fearing the Grim Reaper now. His dad's dead. His agent is crooked. The bottom is dead. His bottom is dead. All he has is Beth. Well, yeah, Ralph is obviously his bottom. But yeah, I mean, he's had a charmed life with no loss, with no significant loss until this last couple of years. And his dad's 99 and Buchwald's 88. This isn't like you're expecting that at that point. But Ralph is the only one where you're like, oh shit. And it's just everybody around him is dropping. And as Jimmy Kimmel told Howard, he thinks he's going to live forever. Remember that? You remember that thing? They were in L.A. and Kimmel was kind of reading them. It was just like a very real moment. We should go back to that too. And remember they were talking about Howard's trying to do a wig culpa with all these people, and they were whispering to each other who they are, which I believe Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson is one of them because of Chet Hayes, and to try to get. And Kimmel said, I know you think you're going to live forever, but you've got to do stuff. You don't have that much time left. And it was like a real moment. It wasn't like the usual ass kissing that Kimmel will do.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of the few good shows they've had in the last 10 years. And that was when they went to LA. And Howard, yes, he's had it, and it is a comeuppance because he has had a charmed existence in that gilded cage and everything. I mean, a true sort of self-absorbed narcissist when all he does, he gets a colonoscopy every 5 minutes, and he's got 10 doctors on speed dial. He's taking mercury tests every half hour. This is a guy who thinks he's going to live till 160 years old, right? I mean, you're not. Brendan corrects himself here, Bon. It's my fault. I'm sorry. I'm projecting. It was actually the Dilworth brothers. Oh God, Jimmy passed away. God, who's stealing the Charleston Chews. You stole my heart, though, Arm, and that was undeniable. Oh my God, the Dilworth brothers. They are pieces of work, Brendan. I can't believe Vin Dilworth. Oh, yeah. My dad liked Vin Dilworth, as a matter of fact. He was on my soccer team when I was in first grade or second grade. My dad goes, I like that Vinny Dilworth. Nice kid. Terrible soccer player, but nice kid. That's the last year I played soccer. Crazy Robin is awesome, Larry Mondello's shoes, and so is Tamara Francois. And the Falcon looked like the angel at the end of Orlando. Yes. So, Bon, you want to, before we get back into the move to Sirius and all that comes with it, I found a good clip speaking of Don Buchwald, and it is a fight he had. And I know we're going to go back to doing a Fred show at some point, but this is Fred fighting with Howard about Buchwald telling him how to do sound effects in the early 90s. And it is
God, I've never heard this one. Tell me.
It's from Todd Packer. And it could be a Todd Packer knockoff YouTube. A lot of people steal his name, and that guy is the GOAT of all YouTube.
I think we've all downloaded his 5 gigabyte torrent many times in our lives, and we thank him. Is he a real guy?
I was friends with him. I haven't spoken with him. We kind of lost touch, but I used to go back and forth with him all the time. And he's a great guy, and we're mutual admirers of each other. And I haven't, if he God knows he's listening.
Fred, no one said anything.
Okay. So this is early 90s. I want to say it's 92, 93. And Buchwald tells Howard that Fred's sound effects are either intrusive or redundant. He repeats himself too much. And Fred is not taking kindly to being criticized. As you know, he's the most thin-skinned SOB on the face of the earth. And I do like that Fred's defending his art, right? But he's no if he was more like Bon Jovial, he would never hear this anyway. And this is 92, 93. This is when we thought he was in his prime. And Buchwald, like, who wants to hear that shit from a Don Buchwald, right? You do it.
This would be. I can only imagine what he's going to say, because he's a client as well. So this is great, and he's got the leather jacket I see there. This is vintage Fred.
Milo is right here. Yeah, Kathy Scott loves her some. We got a half hour. Kathy's got to be on because she works the goddamn prison system. That's her domain.
I could talk to her for half an hour while we were on that Mayor of Kingstown, because we could be going, give us the lowdown with season 2 of Mayor of Kingstown, all the prison stuff. Is that what prison life was like? And we could play bits back and then say, is this you walking down the hallways like this?
I just pulled a calf muscle. Fuck.
Oh, don't move. I told you never to move when podcasting. Where were you? Were you wandering? This is why John wears the headset, everyone, because he likes to wander around. Lie down on the floor. Get down. Remember when they said stuff, if there's a fire, you've got to go down, or if a nuclear bomb, you go down. You need to lie down on the floor and do a stretch, you know what I mean? Or put your foot up against the wall, the leg up against the wall.
Fuck. I just got
How did you do that?
I got up and twisted or something. I'm a
spasm. You know, when I was a kid, I used to wake up in the middle of the night with cramps, like a leg, and I'd roll off the side of the bed and be trying to stretch it out of my leg. That was horrifying. It was as bad as vomiting. You know, when you're a kid, the fears, and it'd take like 2 minutes to stretch your foot out, your leg out, and you'd just be going,
It's
You're probably
dehydration.
right. You're probably right. And I'm
That's-
going to have to drink the
Oh
water
my
now. I
God,
bet you
damn it.
everybody's reaching for the water right now.
Wow. Oh, this is shit. It's my inner fucking thigh. Wow. Oh my God. I gotta stand up. Wow.
This is
Am I the only one
horrifying.
that this has happened to in the middle of a fucking street? How many miles do you think on Jeremy Renner? Oh, I know, JMD. That's Johnny Bye-Bye, by the way. We talked about this, Johnny. Jeremy Renner gets in the car. He gets in his Lincoln Town car and just buzzes around, and he's never going in the right direction. And he just does U-turns the whole fucking show. He's just gets in the car. He's never sedentary. He's always in the car driving.
It's the perfect timing. I've got a clip of him doing exactly that. It's just when he drives the car up off the watch this. This is Jerry. I love it that we've got this. We're so out of our minds. We're so crazy on this show. We've got stuff all ready to go. Just watch this.
From that fool now.
Oh, this is great.
What the fuck, man? Shit! Oh my God! Oh fuck! Oh shit, man! You fucking crazy! I was just trying to have a conversation.
That was so Clint Barton. That's such a great scene.
That was like the first. I think it's the first episode.
It's either the
That's
pilot
what
or the
I fell
second
in.
episode.
Did you see? I fell in love with the show when I was like, oh, I wonder if this will be good. And now when he throws that grenade, that stun grenade and he's shaking his head. He's got the worst. He's just got the most annoyed look on his face. He's like, I've got to go up. He's just. I haven't watched that for ages. It makes me laugh so much. And you brought up the greatest point. This is why I got that clip. Depp could have played that role.
Yeah,
You
that's
said
what I
Depp,
want. That's what he
and
should
when
be
I
doing.
when
That's
I
the way
thought
to
about it, I can
redeem his
imagine
career.
Depp getting out of that car with pissed off look on his face. Oh God,
With a Donnie Brasco face or like a Whitey Bulger face. Yeah, that show. That type of show is how you redeem your career. And he just can't do it. He just can't do it. He's just fucking. Him walking around with a guitar would be like. Never mind. I'm not gonna get off on that.
I know we've got to schedule a show. Yeah, we'll schedule.
But that scene is. I remember like being worried about the ice in the cooler initially, because it was filled with. It's knocked over, and I'm like, oh my God, all that ice. They just filled it up.
Killing me with every time you go into the ice, I lose my mind.
That's
See,
my
I just
dream,
pulled
though.
a stomach muscle laughing. Oh, John. I'm trying to
still
find a
nursing
drop
this
right
damn
now. I
cold
know I'm
muscle.
trying. Here you go. I got something for you. Here's a bit of. Let's talk.
You talking about ice porn?
There you go.
Why did I say that?
I'm worried about your leg. Look, before we get to Fred, while you're stretching that out, I just need to cover something because we had we had a lot of people commenting, and I'm just queuing this up as we speak. So there were people commenting about, this is from the last episode, my countdown timer. So that was this is a bit of footage from the last show, and I noticed some people were saying, is that real, or is that little video he made or something like that? And I'll just show you that if you just compare, there you go. Now that's live. So if you do a quick mathematical calculation compared to what I just showed you before, this shit's real, people. And this is, I could leave a link to it, and we could all go completely mental.
You can make a case they should have it there every year. I think your climate is almost like neutral in a way. Like it's almost, I could make a case they could have it there every year. You guys would win all the water sports, right? Isn't it this surfing, right? You guys
At the moment, we are third in the tally. We've only got 25 million people in this country. So we're doing really well. And I also noticed, and this is where it's going to get a bit controversial, I noticed a comment saying, oh, this Bon Jovial is trying to say that Australia are the best hosts of the Olympic Games. What about Los Angeles in 2028? He thinks that will just be garbage and Australia does the best Olympics. And well, yes, Yes, we do. And John, I can prove it. I can prove that we do it the best. Watch this.
These are my last games as president of the International Olympic Committee. They could not have been better. Therefore, I am proud and happy to proclaim that you have presented to the world the best Olympic Games ever.
Jesus, guy makes Alan Greenspan look like JD Vance.
You wanna see something even cooler? Just slow motion. Zoomed in replay. Look at this cop in the background here. This cop here. See him? Look at him. He starts laughing. Look, he's going, yeah. We are the best. He can't help himself. And
why
that's
did you
why
pick up on that? You pick up on a cop working security with a grin on his face.
You totally expect him to be just like inside going, this is amazing. I love being Australian. I can't wait. I love it. But he's just like, yeah, it's good. It's
Sara,
good. We are.
That's what it feels like. I'm doing squats. That's exactly what it feels like. That's exactly right. She's right. That's the feeling of like doing squats and not stretching properly. I actually have 3 levels. I got Vicks Vapor Rub. I have
I'm worried about you.
I have Aleve. I have the Damian Lillard stuff to my hut. Brizzo, put some Ben Gay on it. Yes, Brizzo. What I love.
They're mocking you now, John. They're mocking you. You know, when they get the pain.
Arm moaning and saying Bond going down. That's classic Okashi, right? That's vintage Okashi. Are you ready for you ready for some Fred versus Buchwald? Here we go. 1992, Fred Norris, does not like to be criticized by.
Oh, wait a sec, John. Wait a sec. Just with the new technology I've got. Look at this. I can become the Olympics countdown. Look at that.
Are you gonna leave it there?
I could just be that.
That's crazy. Maybe you should just be that. That's hilarious.
I can just be that now
I would
forever.
I would leave it. It doesn't tell you when you're talking. You know how like my thing will.
I know that's one problem with it. I have to admit. But isn't that the most? And look, I can do something even. I can just go to. Look at that. I can be a commercial for this.
That's hilarious. I didn't know you could do that. That's great. You could put like a GIF in there.
Yeah, that's just looping. See, it goes forever, and I could do all kinds of stuff. You know this, John. Look, I can do this. I can just be that. So I guess we'll need to have a poll on what people want me to be.
There's no limits. That's great. That's great. That's so fun. Oh gosh, he's like, what did I just walk in on? Could you imagine walking in at that point in the show and you hear me moaning?
And now we got all this weird stuff happening. We got the countdown, and then we've got all these visuals. I don't know what's going on. No one does. But look, I'm just gonna switch all that off because it's just gonna.
Sara,
so we've got.
Sara goes, maybe you should change your diet to something other than chicken nuggets and Pepsi Max. If only that weren't true. Sound like Mark Harris and fucking Boris, right? Tendrils? Change it to chicken strips and Pepsi Max. Jeez, that's true. It is more chicken. I actually had popcorn chicken 3 nights ago. And we laughed. If I eat some vitamin supplements, it all makes up for it. You're the only person who pulls a calf muscle by streaming from a Shaquille O'Neal office chair. That's exactly what I have.
She'll probably start saying that you need to get up earlier in the morning, John.
Yeah. I used to get up so early. I would have 1,000 calories burned on the exercise bike by noon.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
You and David. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. A Quinn Martin production. That's good, Holden. All right, so here we go. Too much caffeine. How dare you, crazy Robin? No migraines. I think it's all psychosomatic. I think any migraine I has is self-induced by my brain being at war with itself. Arm pulling is calf muscle. Let's lose the euphemisms here. We're all friends here, says Brendan. So here it is. I'm tired of teasing it. Fred Norris and Don Buchwald. 1990.
So don't worry about it. All right.
Fred was complimented in the meeting this week.
He was?
Yes.
What you mean? Why?
Fred, your sound effects were clear.
Fred, there's one. I have one minor complaint with. Yeah, really? Fred's sound effects were clear. Like he has any control over that.
I know.
Poor Fred. My agent did say that Fred shouldn't repeat the sound effects so often.
I love how Howard says, my agent. He knows full well Buchwald represents both Robin and Fred at this time. So he just said, instead of saying our agent, which would be right, wouldn't any just normal person just go our agent? But he says my agent.
Yep. Like he does a Twilight Zone thing.
Yeah. And
then if he does it again, it's like someone telling the same joke in the same. And I had a big argument, and then I said, you know what, you're probably right. I said, no. Fred is just, that's her theme song. No. He says, it's like the joke was funny the first time. Now the guy's coming up to the plate and telling the same joke. Either you should have a different sound effect or not play one. And I said, So, Fred, you were the only one who got critiqued, actually.
Fair enough. Howard, I'm so excited to be talking to you because I did get through to you once before, and I guess I was so excited that I shut up and let you about.
Right. Well, you gotta know how to talk to me. You know what I mean? I would give you the same courtesy.
Oh, I know, but I was just so excited.
Then they go on to something else.
Yeah, they don't even want to hear the answer.
Yeah. I almost had to institute a one-topic rule where you me.
I won't.
And don't tell me where you live.
Okay.
Other than that, you did fine.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
As soon as you're on a roll, you start repeating yourself.
I don't see it that way, but okay.
I didn't either, but then I watched it and I said, yeah, okay, I could see that. It's a nitpicky thing.
Specifically, what were you referring to?
Remember when Underdog Lady comes on, you play the Twilight Zone sound effect?
No, it's a cuckoo.
Cuckoo, that's it.
And you play... Don said this?
Well, he didn't know you were playing. If he had known you were playing the sound effect, since he represents you, wouldn't have said anything.
Well, you want to know something? He's wrong.
He might be right.
And I stand behind it. Why? Does he ever play sound effects? He's a great agent, but what does he know about sound effects?
Okay. All right. Well, it's just, you know what? I watched it back, and I did say, hey,
I would be the first one to admit it if I thought it was overdone.
But what I'm telling you is it might be right. I'm saying, hey.
I disagree.
But
of course I disagree. I played it.
Right, exactly. Okay. All right, Fred. We'll take this up later. He just.
Howard does a thing where he pokes at Fred, and then when he gets the reaction he wants, he backs off. Anytime there's a ton of Howard-Fred arguments over the year, and it's not like they're regular. You gotta just when you could put like a compilation of them, and they go the same way all the time. Howard sort of patronizingly. Remember that song Fred had, Bon? Don't Talk Down to Me, and it's clearly about Howard.
Oh yes,
on King Norris. Yeah, so he's patronizing him. And then as soon as Fred kind of takes it to another level, because you're so used to him being such a obedient lapdog, that Howard tries to kind of segue out of it. And Fred, good for him, won't let him. He's snapping at him. And he knows he can't. Fred knows he can't get fired. He's a Buchwald client. And he knows, and he's so obedient. And he has these moments here, and he's rarely funny during it, but he gets very angry, and I don't want creepy is kind of an overused word, but he's just icky, I guess, in these situations. And he's not a wordsmith. He does not have the gift of gab that radio calls for. I thought when Artie left the show that, shouldn't that mean Fred should step up and fill that time? Nope. Not a chance. If anything, he got more mute. Right? He got more mute.
Yeah, he did. I mean, yeah, because Artie set him up for so much drop action.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all those, right. So I pointed this out on Gunk, like very into our stand, probably like in 2016, that all those weird pauses on the show now, there's like Howard does these 12-second pauses I'm talking like the last decade and change. That's where Artie would go. So you hear these 12-second pauses, and that's what you feel, this thump, this harumph of nothing this just lacking all punchline and comedy. That's where Artie would go. And that's the life that was sucked out of the show. And Fred should be filling that time, even if it's just a tired sound effect, but he can't update it. And certainly he's not going to talk through it and punch it up in that way. So it's really, I don't know who the most overpaid guy in radio is, Howard, Robin, or Fred. You could make a case that if Fred's making what I heard he is, $5-6 million a year, and as Tracy Millman said, is the easiest job in all of radio. She said, I wish I were Fred. And I got to get that as a sound drop. If Tracy Millman, the office manager, is saying, I wish I were Fred, you know he has the easiest job in radio. It's as easy as you think. And he'll go, oh, I'm a tortured genius. And Bon Jovial does his job on this show on the fly. He creates sound effects. It takes Fred months to come up with one new sound effect. And we regale him as a genius, which is just ridiculous.
That's right. Thank you.
And he's cheating on Fred's money because, as you know, he doesn't go first. He always goes last. And
This
he's
is
in the
one of your
soundproof booth. Right. Go ahead.
It's one of your biggest conspiracy theories because you cleared up in the first show of Lotus Notes, which is the show you're listening to now. You cleared up that he's a partner, that Howard is a partner, but this is one that's huge for you, and that Fred always knew the answers. And why did
he would say the answer, Bon, before the question was asked. And I mean by that is nothing substantial had been delivered in the question. Right? There's no proper names, and he has the answer before. Let me see if I can do a version of this. I'm just going to do like a baseball thing. I'll be Howard reading the question, and I'll be Fred answering it. Ready?
Okay.
Who in Major League Baseball has set the all-time? Ricky Henderson. And you go, he didn't say stolen bases. He didn't say all time. He just and that's to prove. So does that thing in the soundproof booth, quote unquote, where he's got the headphones on, he's overdoing it, where he's dancing around like he can't hear what's going on. It's just, does anybody believe that? He never goes second. I mean, he never goes first. Why does he never go first? Why does he have to go second? This never in the history of that contest has he gone first.
But if he knows the answers, it wouldn't matter if he went first or second. Or are you saying they'd put him second to just build up the tension?
He can reiterate the answers. He's listening to the fucking answers in the other room, pretending he's listening to music on a headset. He's listening. He's reiterating the answers to the thing, and he does it where, you know, he'll occasionally fake that he doesn't know and try to do this. I don't know. Could be Uranus, you know, and he gets it right. It's just, it's so ridiculous. I can't not believe I'm not the only one who thinks this. Dr. Sarno can cure my migraines. As soon as we get off here, PCB, I'm going to text Sarno, and he's going to drop everything he's doing. He's going to tend to my migraines over all the other things he deals with. There you go. There you go. There you go. Fred's. Let's see if he says "there you go" during this. That's a good one, PCB.
Oh,
there you go. That's Fred's comeback. There you go.
But he listens.
He does listen, but he has to fight.
He's fighting, but he's considering it. I'm not saying I trust him anymore. I'm saying it's something we should consider.
It sounds like you're...
Fred, grow. It's something we should consider. Do you understand?
Don't talk down to me. Fact of the matter is, in other words.
Understand? It's just something we should consider. You know what? I get very defensive for you.
It's something to consider, and you want to know something?
So consider it.
I am considering.
And leave it at that.
I am considering. Okay.
It's the only way we're going to grow.
Okay.
Is if we critique and try to get better.
Okay.
Take the bitter with the sweet.
Okay.
Yeah, Tendrils is right. He would name that tune, and he would name it like in one note before anything was played. Like, give me a break. And he's so hype. We know how thin-skinned, hyper-competitive he is. You remember when he had what's her name, Julie Bowen from Jesus Christ, why can't I think of Modern Family on? And he was so horrible to her, and he walked in the middle of her doing her going first, and Howard got all. Howard's like, "Oh, get up, Fred! Don't get up." And that's
he had a problem with her. Why?
Because he hates women, And it's the most misdirect. Some people hate women and they should hate women. They were abused by them their whole life, or maybe they just had horrible luck with chicks just dating and stuff, and they met all the wrong way. And you could say, yeah, he should hate. He shouldn't hate. There's nothing about there's always a guy, or everyone knows how much I hate men, and there's a good reason for that. So Fred has this unsubstantiated sort of icky anger towards women, and not you can't quantify it for anything. And he takes it out on everyone that comes. He thinks that he actually thinks that he should be Julie Bowen. I think that he should have her career on Modern Family. That he deserves. That's the Saturday. Remember that was Jackie said that he auditioned for Saturday Night Live. He thought he was going to be. John and Jackie both said that Fred thought he was going to be on Saturday Night Live. While he was on Howard, he's going to be like the next Phil Hartman.
How could that ever?
I know. That's how delusional he is. He has Shuley level. You should call him delusional, because that's the level of delusions these people have on this show. That they're entitled to some show business pass because they're on the show. It's a stepping stone. That he's on to bigger. What could he possibly do outside of the show? And God, you talk about stepping in shit. This gig is not available to anyone else, by the way, in show business, like to this degree. I mean, there's people who do like that, but they get paid $20,000 a year. He's getting 7 figures to do this shit. He gets paid more than any other radio host for doing this. And I hate men. That is true. That is a great point. Interchange. So here we go.
So it's not anything that's cut and dry or something you have to hold to, but consider it.
I will consider
as a sound effects artist, which you are.
Consider it.
Can I make a comment here?
I will.
No, your comments aren't valid.
Wait. When you're talking about
Jackie.
Wait, trust me.
Jackie, yesterday was a very pleasant day. I can't tell you how.
I make this analogy all the time. If it's sports, right? Fred has one job. It's like a field goal kicker. Kick your field goal and shut up. If you miss an extra point, you're going to have all the attention in the world on you, and the whole place is going to notice it because you have one little job to get it right. And that's what he's a fucking field goal. He's an extra point kicker. And when you get it wrong, it's going to be compounded 10 times worse because nobody expects anything of you but that. Right, Bon? Right?
Yes. Yeah. He's.
Thank you, Sunflower Dragon. Sunflower Dragon, by the way, is tentatively agreed to, and I say this, and I think she'll do it. She's going to be on our Richard Christy streaking episode with the commentary on women in the workplace and human resources and how it would be in any other. And she knows the legal part of that, so she hopefully will be on when we do our Richard Christy streaking show. And talk about all the
seriously.
No doubt about it.
She's up there with Katie, Aldana, just
right?
classic chicks.
I love me some Aldana infiltration.
Exactly.
There's nothing better than Aldana infiltration. Arm, if the theory is Fred is gay, correct them. The hatred of women can make sense. I don't know. He almost seems asexual to me, and the hatred of supermodels. Right? That's a whole other. Maybe we should do that. We did that Fred show, and I don't even think we got to the supermodel stuff.
That was a great Fred show. Oh man, the shows you guys did this they were great. And there's probably like you're saying, there's probably a lot of Fred left to be done, I guess.
Oh,
John.
tons. But I mean, you gotta the only thing he gets passionate about is the velvet rope and the status of supermodels. He's supposed to be this thinking man, intellectual, right? He's a Benjamin, right? Benjamin called him big dumb guy. He's a big dumb guy who reads encyclopedias. He's the only thing he gets passionate about is the status of a supermodel, Carol Alt. Who is clearly a Sports Illustrated supermodel is the top of the food chain. There's no debating. It's arbitrary, yes, but if there's one thing you could quantify with supermodels, that if you're on the cover of Sports Illustrated in the 90s and the late 80s, you're a supermodel, lock, stock, and barrel. It's not even a question. And that's what he gets passionate about: supermodels. Mr. Intellectual, Mr. Winfred's money, Mr. Thinking Man, Stern, Mr. He's up. Oh God, he's so deep. He's up in his head. He doesn't talk because he's thinking all the time. And supermodels and their status is what he's thinking about. And he needs to be brought down a couple notches, even more than we already have. Fred's daughter is Fred in drag. Yes, Tess Norris. Good Tess Norris reference, Sarah. My cousin Mark, his name in the last fantasy league we were in together was Tess Norris. That was
There you go.
I was very proud of that "there you go" observation I made with Fred, because I was burdened with getting all the Fred clips, and every time I would hear one, every argument he was in, when he had nothing to say, he would just go, "There you go, there you go, there you go," and now you know it's something that you wouldn't pay attention to unless you were inundated with him. Fred versus Carol Alt could almost be an entire episode. It could almost be an entire episode. But I think we should just, him and supermodels. It's the creepiest, stupidest obsession ever.
How pleasant.
I just want to throw some
All right,
grease.
don't irritate me.
I want to throw grease into this.
Be smart. Sit back and relax. Don't even get involved.
I have grease.
If I open up, you're gonna be sorry you brought it up. Trust me. I'm telling you, I know.
All right.
Jackie, not represented by Buchwald, by the way.
You defend everything. Trying to always
I'm not defending. I'm just saying why Fred's defending so heartily.
Why?
Because if you question which sound effect he's using, that's a sound effects question.
Right.
When you're questioning whether he should repeat one again, then you're questioning his sense of humor,
right?
Which gets his ire up.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, Jackie's right, Howard, and you should compliment him on that spot-on analysis. But you're not gonna, because you're jealous of everything.
You know what? I got very defensive, too, because my agent brought up some things about my own performance that I get very defensive over. And then when someone says something about Fred, I get very... But he wasn't saying about Fred. He was just saying he thought that, in fact, I had written this call for the sound effect.
Yeah, he was criticizing you then.
Yeah, right. So I said, no, I don't see that. I said, I thought it was funny both times. And then I went back on and watched, and I said, you know what? It isn't as funny the second time. It's really good to hit it once. Possibly. And then I started giving the whole Three Stooges defense that, hey, the Three Stooges did the same hits and smacks a couple of times in each movie, but look, Fred, you're fired, okay? That's what this is all leading up to, okay? Look.
And how many times has Howard repeated the same stories about his parents? Why is that okay to repeat a story that's a half hour long about your parents, and the same Roosevelt lies, and the same WNBC? Who talks about a job they had in the 80s in 2024? To the degree that he does and gets away with it.
That's that, and talking about his parents, and that is the weirdest stuff. That's what's so weird.
As tired as Fred is with his tired sound effects now, and you were 1,000 times better, who's more redundant than Howard? Who repeats their own fucking stories more than Howard does? It's like not. How could you remotely say that? You talk. I mean, so. As you know, Howard is not like Fred getting compliments on any level, sound effect wise. That's really kind of at the core of it all. And do you remember that story? They were in New Orleans, and Fred got complimented by somebody about a sound effects, and because it was taped, because they were in a rare live appearance outside of New York in New Orleans. Howard had the Fred compliment edited out. And so Jackie's wife heard the live show because she was there, I think. And then she listened to the what we heard. And the first thing she said to Jackie is, they took out the compliment Fred got. Howard edited out the Fred compliment. And then they looked into it, and they had Buchwald cut it out because it made Howard look less spectacular.
Good Lord. I love it that she looked into it. Of course she did. The moment she noticed, she would have been looking into it. Anything to get on Howard's nerves.
Yeah, it was Nancy. It was Nancy Sirianni that did.
Yeah.
And speaking of Howard, so I found this by accident. Shit just comes up in your YouTube feed sometimes, and nobody has a weirder YouTube feed than me. And so you remember Meg Griffin? She is a alternative rock kind of... Just a kind of a I don't even know how to put this. WDRE, just a good rock and roll fan, with super integrity. She was a DJ at K-Rock. She knew Howard in Hartford. He would have her on a lot of times and try to berate her integrity and stuff. And so Meg Griffin was recently interviewed, and she talks about, and I had not heard her frame it in this way, what Howard it really is behind the scenes and what she knew in the early days. And she gets very candid here, and it's right because Howard can't control the narrative. So this is Meg Griffin. This is like from, I don't know, a few months ago. I haven't heard from her in a while. And she talks about what Howard is. She basically calls him a poser in a very nice way.
Oh,
and then he has
beautiful.
no actual passion for radio. He just wants to be on the air and famous.
Nice. Let's go.
Howard and I first crossed paths at WRNW in Briarcliff Manor. It was my first job. I'm not sure if Howard had worked at some other station before RNW.
She remind you a little of Elaine Bredehoff from the Depp trial, Bon? Amber Heard's lawyer.
Bonnie.
She had like longer
yes. Oh.
I think he had. He came in and he hadn't figured himself out yet, I guess is how I would describe it.
So she's already saying in 2 seconds, he comes in and he doesn't know what he is. But he just wants to be on the air.
Doing.
He doesn't know he doesn't know what he is, which is worse because you have no integrity. Like he's like you don't have a passion for anything. You just want to be on the air. That's hard. I mean, that's like to me, that's everything wrong with everything in show business. The person who simply just wants to be famous, right? They're all these realities. They're all over LA, right? They don't have any particular passion for the arts. I just want to be famous. In his case, he just wants to be on the air. He doesn't have anything he's particularly past. Just put me on and I'll just whatever. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And why should anyone have to go along with that at that point? So this is what she's saying. She's like, he doesn't know what he is. And I'll play a clip after this of someone else who had that exact same opinion, how you know they're right and Howard's wrong, the serial liar that he is.
He hadn't figured himself out yet, I guess is how I would describe it. He wanted to be on the radio, but I think he hadn't quite figured out yet that his true brilliance would be a talk show like what he has developed so successfully over all these years. So he came in as a DJ. I really didn't get to know him very well then. What did happen when Joe and I left that station, because a new owner came in there and he wanted to kind of clean up what we were playing, we were too wild for him, the new owner. He wanted all records to sound like Steely Dan and Fleetwood Mac, and when he heard some of the stuff we were playing, he's like, oh, no. This was too wild for this new owner. So they ousted us there, and that's when I went right from there to NEWFM. It was really fine with me. But Howard was asked to take over as program director. And I honestly think that...
So now Howard's program director, after she moves on, now she's the rebel. She got fired for, playing, what would you say, the Smiths or something at the time? Like, instead of Steely Dan and probably playing, alternative music. What was considered alternative at the time, probably stuff like the Smiths, or that band X. It's a punk band, probably stuff like that. And they don't want, they want to play it safe. So she's actually the rebel here.
Sure.
And I honestly think that, as strange as it sounds, I honestly think Howard was asked to take over as PD because then. Again, I just don't think he'd figured himself out yet. He just wanted to have a job and stay someplace for a while so he could figure it out. Who am I going to be on the radio? So they figured he would do what they told him because he wanted the gig. And
company man, right?
Yeah.
Company man. That's the opposite of a rebel. That's the opposite of the FCC. And he doesn't know. Shouldn't you at this age know what you are on the radio? By this point, shouldn't you have some idea? It'd be like me going into a sports radio station and I said, the NBA is my thing, right? It's easily the thing I know the best backward of, even though I've had moments in my life where I've dipped in and out of it and I've kind of I come back in, but it is in my DNA. And if I want to, I can wade back in and master it because I have that, the chemical components from a kid that I just know all the rhythms and stuff. And so it would be like me going to a sports radio station and go, I don't know. whatever. I just want to be on the air. Like they would fire me in a second. You would never be able to get away with that. You have to bring it. You have to show the passion for that. But he's just like, I don't know. I just want to be. Who says I just want to be on the air? What is that?
I can't believe he said it. It's so
Yeah.
stupid. It's like me saying if I went into a bloody record labels, I just want to see my CD in the music stores.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't care about
they'd go,
music. I just
"What
wanna-
did you
right, I
just
just-
say?" They'd be like, "Oh, well, we're not going to help you."
Yeah.
It's vanity.
But that's the poser we know him as today. I mean, we talk about this all the time, how he doesn't have any particular, and he humble brags about it all the time too. Oh, I don't know. I don't want, he's just too cool for everything, or he can't, he's a goldfish brain. He can't stay with anything. He's not good at anything. That's nothing to brag about. It really isn't. I think at a certain point, the best thing he's ever done is he became a great, great, great interviewer in the 90s and some of the 2000s. The best in the business. I have no problem saying that. Not today. We know what he's morphed into today. This obsequious celebrity ask. But in the 90s, I have no problem saying, and some of the 2000s, the best interviewer in the business. But I don't know if he would consider that his passion. But again, that has a lot to do with Jackie writing in questions.
Oh, yes.
That worked for him for that short chapter, but that's really.
Yeah, thank you, Sunflower. That's the reason Howard made fun of her, because it's a projection, because he was always acting. And she actually had the true passion for music and what she does. Yeah, she does.
Short chapter, but that's
Kennedy's
really how I
still
see that kind of went down, even though Howard will sometimes tell a different story, and Howard sometimes can exaggerate things and take them out of context.
So she's already saying he's a liar. That's a great way of saying he's a liar. He's rewriting history, and he's making himself out to be this perpetual rebel who gets fired, fights the FCC, and fights magic. He is the man at this point.
I'm loving this girl, this woman, as this goes
great.
on.
She's great. I've always loved
vicious.
Because it makes for good radio.
And by the way, she's a walking Lilith Fair, if you think about it, right? Could you imagine her and Sunflower Dragon at the Lilith Fair, just holding hands and singing along with Prosecco or something? Could you imagine that? Sarah McLachlan comes on.
Prosecco. I'm just waiting for her to say something like this.
Did you hear him say, I bet you slipped a tongue in there and you liked it?
Do it again, Bon.
Did you hear him say, I bet you slipped a tongue in there and you liked it?
Elaine Bredehoff, everyone.
If you ever had the chance to speak with him about it, he might tell that story differently. I'm not.
She's great.
Yeah,
She's
it's very condescending, and I'm loving it.
In fact, wasn't Mr. Depp saying pretty horrible things to Ms. Heard? Like, get fucked on set, get fucked with fucking James fucking Franco? Did you hear that?
God, when I look at Meg's face, it's like it's Bredehoff saying it,
Oh God, I wish Sara was here, because she would have so many things to say. Bonnie, she named her Aunt Bonnie. It was an amazing thing.
Yeah, PCP is a great. Howard made fun of Meg because she left a 6-figure salary to work for a college radio station. That's just she is writhing with integrity. She really is. She walks the walk.
Sure, but really
we can't handle that in a capitalistic system. Someone who sticks to their guns. We can't handle it.
I saw was in those days, believe it or not, Howard was still willing to be a kind of yes man. Not what he morphed into at all. And I have nothing but respect for him. I think the show is hilarious and I listen all the time. But we were all figuring ourselves out back then, including him. So he stayed there for a while until he couldn't take it anymore either. At K-Rock, he started to have me on his show a lot. If he would get into his last hour and some big star that was scheduled didn't show up, or if he just...
This is great. And I kind of knew this, but she frames it in a way I had not heard. She says, so back in the day, and sometimes he would do this where, and I think a lot of people, Tamara Francois says, remember, he's not lying, he's a comedian. It's a comedy show. That's right. That's the genre he's calling it this week, Tamara. It's convenient. It's a comedy when you don't want to take accountability, or you don't get it. So I remember, just as far back as I can go, is that they would have guests cancel on them all the time. And occasionally he would shame the guest and just ripped him a new one, and for days and days and days until they capitulated and possibly came back on, or maybe they just ran scared. Sometimes they wouldn't, and I'm sure there were, for everyone they did, there was 5 that they wouldn't bring attention to because it made the show look bad. So here's Meg saying that they had guest cancel all the time, and she would sit there back in the back office, and she would have to come in and fill the time because the guest would cancel on them. And she would come in and they would do this shtick about Meg's integrity. And I remember it well. And it was usually during the latter part of the show.
Big star that was scheduled didn't show up, or if he just wanted to fill some time or whatever, I would be in some other room. I would hear what was going on, and all of a sudden I'd hear him say to Gary, go find Meg, get her in here. Or maybe he's talking about something of my radio past or some punk rock idol that I love. It's something that he could bring me in and put me in the hot seat in his studio and kind of make fun of me for. All sort of in a playful way, but Howard also is a master of, and enjoyed back then anyway, pushing buttons. He likes to find your weak spot and push buttons and get you set off. And because
Sunflower says, I, in fact, would go to the Lilith Fair with Meg Griffin with my sunflower purse.
Oh.
You got to figure on the other end, it's fun for people to listen to. People will listen to a fight on the radio. It's like, he's no dope. So
And now look at that scarf, right? That's integrity, not Howard's scarf. He stole scarves from her. Look at this. Who crocheted this, by the way? Who knitted this thing?
What is it? It's
we'd have to ask Meg. Somehow it works for her. It almost looks like, fusilli pasta or something you'd get at
yeah, it's loopy, isn't it?
Yes.
I hate men, Sunflower Drag.
That wasn't me. That was a drop on. I think I almost talked to myself.
We had many, many visits like that, and a lot of them, as angry as they would get, would always end with what I perceive as affection. We would laugh once the mics would go off, and he'd leave the studio because then I would really be beginning my show. Sometimes I'd fight with Robin. Listeners would always phone in and go, I love this. I love it when you guys fight,
You know the actress Bonnie Hunt?
Yes.
She kind of looks like her here, too, as well.
And other times we would have times that weren't so much an argument. He'd just have me in for the last 45 minutes or whatever. Sometimes if he had another.
Oh, I barely remember that, Holden. Meg hated Sam Kinison. Why is that? That she thought he was maybe the shtick was not authentic, or maybe he was a chauvinist, or all the above. I can't imagine she would like Sam Kinison. That's a great memory you have. I don't really remember her rancor towards Sam Kinison.
Guest in there, he would have me in because he'd think maybe it would be interesting to have Meg and Bob Guccione Jr. in the studio, because Guccione Jr. at that time was publishing Spin magazine, and Howard knew it was a magazine I liked, and he'd get you in.
So Guccione did Spin and Hustler?
I wouldn't know, but this chick is a name dropper from hell. She's throwing names in it everywhere.
How about this? If you were programming the show and you could tell Howard what to, would you make him drop Robin and bring in Meg as a sidekick?
Oh God. Do I have to answer it?
You have to answer it.
Oh no, I shouldn't even need to answer it. I meant to say is absolutely someone who
wouldn't that be a great dynamic, right?
Someone who doesn't just give her the give him the yes answer. This woman can elaborate for 30 seconds on what Howard's saying, and I mean that would be hard for Howard though, because he'd have to work, as you know. So,
and
what does everyone else think? What do you guys in the chat think about that? I think she's lovely, and they're saying it's crocheted. Crocheted. What? I have to look up what crocheted means.
It's just like knitting. It's like a glorified way of saying knitting. Is Meg wearing a wig here, by the way? You think? Her hair looks more authentic than Howard's does, but could she possibly be wearing?
I don't want to think.
I don't
want to go there.
Jose Villataro says Howard was that scarf and try to hide the giraffe neck. Yeah, I know. That's also a vanity thing, right? He's hiding the fucking turkey neck, which is just hideous. Now, if you get a really good sort of super HD look at it, you're right, though, Mr. Villataro, crocheted scarf.
And they're really talking about something passionately and then find a way to make fun of you for your passion, because it's his MO, and it's funny.
Benjamin hates Sam Kinison too. Yeah, he's not for everyone. He's very polarizing. I get what he is, and I understand, he's sort of unique in that way. But yeah, he was like, how does Sam Kinison translate? Let's say he's still alive. Does that act still go today? Like, what happens to a Sam Kinison circa 2000 and on? Right? Does that still play?
That's what I don't know. I don't know how, because you could say someone like Bill Hicks, if he was alive today, would be rocking, because everybody stole all of his stuff back then, and it became popular. So he had the soul, but Kinison didn't have, like, Bill Hicks could make all these disgusting jokes, but he was always getting at a point about government and authority and power. But Kinison was just a madman running around. I don't know what he'd do. It's like saying, how would Jackie work on the Howard Show today, or Artie? Because you can't be throwing the FAG word around and things like that. So would Artie be able to be on the Stern Show now? It's all different. Woke came in. How would Artie have dealt with woke,
We've never gotten like a straight answer to Artie, but I wonder if in the deepest recesses of his mind, I mean, I always thought he was sabotaging himself. He wanted off. He hated the hours. I've always felt that. So he was going to self-sabotage himself because he hated the life. He hated those hours. He thought, I just need to, why don't, if the show was on the afternoon, maybe it would have gone. But I think that he sensed that the show was shifting in a way that he wasn't cool with anymore. And I think there were friends of his telling him, look, man, they're exploiting you, and the derelictions, and you're so much better than that. You are a wit. You are a raconteur. And I just don't think this is good for you. And I think that he sensed that he was outgrowing the show. Comedically, the show was not going in a direction that he was fond of, that it couldn't handle. I think in the deepest recesses of his mind, he sensed an ending, and he just forced the ending. Maybe when, whatever, December of 2009. So, all right, that's sometimes you just want out. Sometimes you, in your mind, I'm done. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's, you just, in your mind, all of a sudden something just clicks. You go, I'm done. I think
I'd love you to have asked him that when you got to interview him, because I think he would have thought about that thoughtfully too. I think he would have said maybe, or maybe he would have said something like, I haven't really thought about it like that before, so maybe.
I got all I'm going to get out of this show. They've used me up. I'm out. And obviously he got fired, but he was, we talked about like soft quitting or something like that. It's easier to just force the, someone to fire you. You're sort of just going, I'm just going to push it to the degree. I can't quit, but I do know how to sabotage it enough where they'll be forced to fire me. And I think a lot of things, he's not compensated for Howard TV. I think he already thinks in a monetary way, and he does. And I think he always talks about residuals and this guy's deal and this guy's holding deal. He's obsessed with contracts, and he's a scratch, as they say. So I think that him not getting compensated for the move to Sirius, and he should be getting well over 7 figures for it, not getting and we're going to get to that later, that Ralph got a bonus, and Artie was very bothered by it in 2007.
Artie should have been getting a lot more back then.
He didn't even get a bonus, Spawn. Howard got an $83 million bonus in 2007. After the $225 million bonus in 2006, Artie didn't get a cent. Howard never once said, Jesus Christ, Artie is a fucking beast on this show. It's the reason we were able to make my bonus. He didn't even throw him $100,000. It went to Ralph.
What's amazing is Artie held his tongue on all of that. He never brought that up.
And even when he was on the show, that forever.
I'm surprised it didn't slip out because he's so wasted a lot on the show. I'm surprised he didn't just start getting into it. It's amazing.
Thank you, Mr. D. Thank you. Guccione Sr. published Penthouse, not Hustler. He paid for his son to start Spin Magazine, which is a music magazine, and it was fairly big for a while. I remember I had the one with Belinda Carlisle on the cover. I don't know why I bought. There was some other reason why I bought. There was some other. I don't know why I bought that. It was sitting in my bedroom for like years. You ever have a magazine and you just never get rid of it, and it just sits there? You stare at it all the time.
Yeah, I had a Rolling Stone mag that had Gillian Anderson in her underwear. She did a shoot like in 1994 or something. That hung around for many years in my bedroom in my teen years because I was obsessed with it. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. I was like, it's Gillian. Oh my God.
The way JD Vance is with couches, I'm like that with I'm the Wilt Chamberlain of body pillows. She's wearing a pubic. Holden says, "I think it's a wig too perfect." Benjamin, Meg looks like a normal person, unlike any stern person. I know she is. She's way too fucking normal. Really is. He needed black representation to marry. I know with Robin, but yes, she would have been great if you took Robin's race and you turned. I think Meg's blacker than Robin is actually at this point, right? I might say that Meg represents my people a little more than look. As a man of color, I feel that Meg represents me and my people more than Robin does at this point. My mother makes crocheted scarves, says Holden. By the way, I love you too, Benjamin. We love you too. So here is Jackie Martling and Stuttering John on Anthony Cumia's defunct compound. This is at the very beginning of his show, and he had Jackie and John on for a fantastic 2.5-hour interview, and they dished stuff about the Stern Show I had not heard. I still have things. It's actually the full thing is on my Patreon channel, and it is so good. And this is my favorite parts. This is Jackie talking about exactly what Meg said, but this is later on. Howard still hasn't figured himself out. He doesn't know what he is. And okay, Mr. D says Meg played REM, Talking Heads, Blondie, Ramones, Romantics, Devo, X, etc. Howard did not know any of these bands. Yes, those are perfect bands to represent Meg, Mr. D. I agree. Meg used to tell Howard he wasn't funny. Oh, that's true, Sunflower. And he's not looking for that in the slightest. Sam Kinison would definitely have been Me Too'd by this point. Yes, he would have been.
Ugh.
No doubt, Tendrils. No doubt. No doubt. A walking Me Too. He kind of was at the time too, but you couldn't do anything about. There was no cancel culture then. She said she didn't like Kinison because he'd come to the station all effed up on coke and do drugs there, and then leave a mess. Okay, that makes right. So if you're working there, he's leaving a goddamn mess in your workstation, and that totally makes sense. John Artie was on heroin and coke at the time. None of what he did was planned or thought out. No, he's deeper than drugs. I don't want to give him a pass on drugs. I know he's on all that stuff, Mr. D, but I think Artie's. You cannot dismiss his brain and that drugs represent all his thoughts. I don't believe that at all. I think he'd been harboring a very, very justifiable bitterness that he was not rewarded on the move to Sirius. And this is kind of what we're doing in this series we're doing here. I think people told him that, and I was one of them. That was way later. I told him that on his own DirecTV show too. And I think he harbored that all along. And he said, you know what? Fuck you. I'll fucking take off whenever I feel like it. I will not come in. I will be derelict. You're going to use the material anyway, and you're going to make $4,000 a minute off me being a junkie. So I'm not going to come in. I'll play the part you want me to play. I won't come in, and I'll fuck up, and I'll be. You can fat shame me because that's all you know how to do. And I think he just leaned into it. He's like, I have no accountability. All right, good. You're not going to give me a bonus. I'm not going to come in. That's what I would do. Wouldn't you?
Yes.
Art, do not underestimate Artie's intelligence and his sort of self-awareness or awareness to what's going on around, especially when it comes to money. Meg confronted Sam on the air for being a male chauvinist. I got to hear more of that. I know I heard it, but I just didn't. It's not something I read. I think Kinison's overrated. I think like the legend of him and that show, they're way too. What's the word I'm looking for? They're way too nostalgically lionizing of him, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And so I don't go back and listen to Kinison. And I certainly heard it the first time, but I need repetition. And I get Kinison. I don't hate him, believe it or not. Like in terms of like most people are, I think he's polarizing, meaning you do love him or you hate him. And I was always like, I got what he was doing. He was like a force of nature as far as arguing and screaming, and that energy goes a long way on a show like that. But I did not like him enough to go back and listen to it multiple times. Not my favorite genre. Artie was a silent sidekick, says Johnny Bye Bye. Meg
I
referred
like
to
that.
Kinnison's Dante's Inferno. Wow, Holden, you have an amazing memory for this Meg Kinnison stuff. I mean, he's every nuance of it down. You know, we all have our little pockets of things we've mastered and blind spots. I have blind spots all the time, and I just feel like I did not. I listened to Kinnison once, and that was enough for me. I did not go back, and so I don't have. It's not. I don't have it down like Holden does. I have the basics with Kinnison, and like I said, I found him. Thank you, Mr. D. Overrated. Yeah, it's a little. I get it, but I find him a little overrated. Gillian Anderson. Because Gillian Anderson says Holden.
Oh yeah, it's just a great edition of Rolling Stone.
Yeah, he's good in small doses. Right, Holden.
Yeah,
Jose
you get
Villar-
into that when you talk about that. You get into Robin Williams coming on to Letterman, and you just like, calm down, man. You know, the Robin Williams manic stuff where you just go, that's enough. Stop the
small doses,
ADD
right.
comedy act where you're clearly improvising and you're sort of 50% of it's entertaining and then 50 of it's just like, just stop.
Villataro says the wildlife Kinnison was not going to make it past the year 2000. No, I agree. I don't think he was, what do they say? Too good to live, too young to die, too good to live, whatever the fuck that is. And, you know, only the good die young or whatever. But yeah, he wasn't meant to go past, you cannot visualize him past 45. There's a lot of people, though, I couldn't visualize past 40 or 45. I can't believe Depp is 61. Right? I couldn't picture that. I tell that same tired story all the time, and I'm in the Burger King, and I had the USA Today on some really depressing Saturday afternoon in like July. I just finished a long run, and I had 2 chicken sandwiches and a Diet Coke and fries. And I popped Burger King used to have USA Today at the counter, and I got it, and I plop it open, and Benny and June had just come out, and there's an article on Depp in the USA Today Weekend Edition, and he had just turned 30. And I was like, what? There's no way that guy's 30. And now he's 61. He's 61. I never thought that day would come. Like Depp. Go.
No, that is crazy. For sure.
Depp.
He seemed like he had a death wish for a while when he was younger. Like the River Phoenix.
He's got such a Peter Pan complex. Like you think of him as eternally young, or you just always, even if it's just from Jump Street stuff, you're like a young actor. It's at what point do you take that away? Now he's past middle-agedom. He's 61. Kamala Harris's VP, Waltz, is actually a year younger than Depp is. But you look at him and he looks like Tim Sabian and what's his name? Tim Kaine had a kid. Right, but he's a year younger than Depp is. He's a year younger than Brad Pitt is. He's the same age as Keanu Reeves. Isn't that crazy? And you look at him, you go, oh God, he's got to be 75. But that's how, it's just a normal guy who doesn't color his hair, who doesn't have fucking Botox, and he's fucking Keanu Reeves' age. Crazy Robin is here. She says, I'm hobbling in my house right now, but she's hobbling in style. She's hobbling, and she can make hobbling look cool. Yeah, Marilyn Manson's 55, halfway to 110. Sunflower Dragon on Kinnison. I agree 100% with this. I don't get offended by comedy, but it's just not, it's exhausting. Yeah, I'm not offended by anything. I just it's just certainly he is not for everyone. And I'm not sure I could take him in small doses. I agree with that 100%. We love you too, Crazy Robin. He's 61, even though he tried his level the best to not be. Yes, Depp, I said Sunflower. Celebrities, it was a Clooney quote that said they're stuck in the age they got famous at. And in Depp's case, he's stuck at, say, 24, 25. He is dating a woman now who is a year younger than his daughter, Lily Rose. And she is a Czechoslovakian model, just a cookie cutter. She makes me miss Amber Heard. Like Amber Heard's starting to look real good compared to this chick. She is younger. She is 2 years younger than Depp's first wife, Lori Allison, who he got married to at 20 years old in 1983.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. He is 37 years old. What do they talk about? She's Czechoslovakian and 37 years younger than him. What do they talk about?
Oh God, it must be. And how could that even work? Because he doesn't want to go out anywhere, and she's gonna be at that age. She wants to be out all the time, every night.
Melvin
It's
says
sad.
midlife actually begins at 38. So speaking of midlife, this is Jackie and Stuttering John talking to Kumia about trying to give Howard some kind of identity because he just didn't seem to be passionate about anything, and it completely lines up with what Meg Griffin just said.
Pretty big part of the
Because
fucking...
it wasn't in my
in
my
your
era.
They
timed
it. Yes.
Very. Yeah.
They made it look like they went to the moon, and then I stumbled in at the last minute.
and Stuttering.
Oh, Jackie's complaining about private parts being cut out, right? Which is great. Which is so true.
John wasn't there yet.
No.
Yeah, it was kind of. Look at Jackie Martling just stepped in, Robin, to help us celebrate the good fortune we created. Right. And they did kind of cool him up a lot earlier than he was cool. There was the little afro and the mustache through all of NBC.
When I first walked in the Stern Show, he was built like a pear. He was a big, fat Jewish guy with a big afro.
Skinny fat.
And I said to Fred, what kind of music does he listen to? He says, I can't get him to listen to music. I can't get him to watch sports. And all of a sudden, Dee Snider came in and said, you should wear this. You should wear this.
Right.
You like this and tell everybody you like this. And all of a sudden, there's this new person.
That was Dee, right? He kind of influenced his look, I guess.
Yeah, because when I look at somebody,
if you want to look,
if I look around the room, I say, "There's the role model I want.
The guy I need to look like."
What color lipstick? Brad Pitt. I want to look like Dee Snider. What color lipstick?
Oh my God!
He's wearing heels so high you almost can't see his fucking lip.
That's a really damning. It really is like it's like you have no personality of it. I think there's nothing more insulting or worse than that. That would be my biggest nightmare if someone said that about me. In Howard's case, I don't know if he takes it. He doesn't because he's such a poser. But to me, that's the worst thing you could. And Jackie should say it, and I'm proud of it for saying it. But Jesus, is that the worst thing you could say about someone? Is they have no personality of their own?
And you get exactly. And I don't know anything Jackie says now. I just those two guys. John sitting there with his favorite accessory in his hand. God, the bottle. It's
so look
depressing.
What Sara writes here. Look at Sara. She goes, "Has John's liver rotted out his asshole yet?"
Yeah.
I looked at that. And I thought she was talking about me, and I'm like, "What did I do to deserve that?"
Wow.
Like, I took me a couple of beats. I'm like, "What did I do to what?"
Yeah. Because she gets very authoritarian, and she can get the angry Sara.
Yes,
but
very intimidating.
I don't like you. I don't even want to think about you sitting there for those few minutes looking at that going, have I done something wrong? Because I know you'd feel bad. No, but of course she didn't mean that. She's talking about the stuttering, disgusting human who should, I wish he would unalive himself, anything.
Unalive?
Vile
scumbag. Is that some YouTube workaround? Unalive?
Yeah, that's that. Well, that's like last show, that's another one that the kids are saying. They say unalive instead of saying the SUICIDE word because that all gets trouble on the air.
Hey, Bon, I'm working on getting my cousin on the show for you.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You got my messages good.
Yeah,
I was going to start. How is it? Did you send him texts saying, look, I need this. I have demanding audience and a co-host who are gagging for you on the air? Is that
I do. No, I do. And that's true. And he kind of has this thing where he'll deflect off to something else. And I don't think he wants to be pinned down. I'm gonna keep hammering away. I gotta show you these texts. Because I showed them to David. He works with Pamela Adlon on King of the Hill. She does the voice on King of the Hill. So they're doing a remake, and he's on the staff, the writing staff. And so
wow,
Pamela Adlon is on the 4th season of 21 Jump Street's Halloween episode. But he doesn't know this. And so I'm badgering him, harassing him. I'm going, no, you're not blowing this off. I want you to tell her. I want to talk to her about Jump Street, that episode. You don't Oh, I don't want to get fired. It's my first year on the show. I don't want to hear any of that. Get her on. I'm going to talk to her about. She's in the whole episode. Every scene she does is with Depp and Deloise. Every scene.
This is the kind of thing you need so much. I mean, you've got a connection. You can get an in. You've got an in.
Depp did a voice on King of the Hill, Bon. He played Victor, the yoga instructor. No, he did. He was on. I swear to God, he did a voice on King of the Hill.
And I'm going, I don't deny it. I just love hearing.
He works on the show and doesn't know this.
How often do you hear someone say Victor, the yoga instructor? I'm getting a drop of it.
So I wrote an episode that Victor was going to train the Dallas Mavericks in yoga because there's too many injuries. And
that's probably pretty funny, isn't it?
No, it's great. I think it's great.
I like
it's better than anything they do. But they can't, these writers and their ego, like, I can't take unsolicited material from the civilian. I'm so clever. Fuck you. You get me
your cousin.
Adlon. Oh. Yeah, I'm not going to stop. Twice a week I keep at it. I'm like, I'm not laying off. You're getting me here for the Deppening. It got so bad. I'm going to Comic-Con next year. Because they're releasing the show at Comic-Con. I'm going to Comic-Con next and ambushing her in San Diego. And I'm staying with him. And I don't care if he gets fired. I don't care about any of that. This is bullshit. I deserve this.
I'm loving this. Her
name is Pamela Adlon, the actress. She's in season 4 of Jump Street, the Halloween episode.
So what's his problem with coming on this show? We're not going to mention his name or anything. This is all, and we're not going to ask if he doesn't want us to go into stuff. We won't go into stuff. I just want to get him on because I want him to talk about you and him in the 90s, driving together in the mornings, listening to Stern.
He's worried I'm going to bring up like Dan Schneider questions, and I think he thinks I'm going to like drop too many names and bring up. I don't. Who cares?
Play him me right now, saying we won't. We're not going to ask him for story personal. We're just gonna. I mean,
I will tell him that. I will tell him. You know what? I'm going to play him this clip of the show of you saying it.
Tell him I'm Australian if that helps. If that'll do anything.
Yes. You're the Australian, even though you're a lot more, I'd say, in the list of things good about you, that's like number 10. But so many people just think that's all you are, is that accent. And that is bullshit.
Exactly.
Who's that?
I have a heart. Yeah.
Yes, you do have a heart. And you have like a super fan. You have like a real groupie in one of the comments. What is her name? Oh, she talks about fapping to your voice. This is the second time. I forget her name. She'll out herself.
I know who she is. Her name's Amber. I have not talked to her in real life. I've seen her say things for years. Chutzpah. She's got the chutzpah to mention me in a sexual sort of way, but I'm familiar with her. She said that she would like to swallow my... in that kind of setting, she would swallow it. All of this stuff. I think she's into what the kids call that whole bond. You know what I'm getting? I don't want to go there because then we could get in trouble. It's not a sexual show. I say that to people a lot who listen to this show. It's not a sexual show.
Is she from Australia?
I have no idea, but I've seen the I just seen her. She was doing it on Radio Gunk. Monique used to send me text messages of pictures of her saying something about if he comes here, he has no idea what I'll do to him and all this stuff. And it's fantastic. I'm just glad that there's an ocean between us because it's not unlike my obsession with you and Sara. And if I lived over there, I'd be saying, we have to move into this house together. Let's get a house together. We'll get David to move in.
Well, let's get the house that Depp used for Pirates 5, Vaughn. But that's one of the Amber Heard fights, the house they rented for Pirates 5.
Well, it would be the podcasting house. And we'd have rooms. David could have a room and he could bring how many cellos he has, probably 10. He could have a whole room full of cellos and all day it'd just be... coming out of that room, and you'd go, it'd just be amazing. And I love you. What I love about you is when you send me the voice messages, it sounds like you're in the control room somewhere, because you've got I hear this 24-hour news in the background. It's like, we're going to the streets of Wisconsin now. And I love it. You've got the radio on. Is it news, sports radio? Is that what it is?
I think most of that, when it's you, it's probably MSNBC. I'm almost positive. Cool. It's like they're always in the midst of.
I wish I could play some sort of news in the background, because I hear the news in the background go, and then I hear John go, so yeah, I'm thinking about what for the next episode.
we should play some of those messages. We should play those.
I can play mine, because I would not. Do
you have mine?
Play. No, I don't. I can play me being weird, and this is the first for this show. I got a bit funny with John over the last few weeks. I started sending John voice messages where I've sort of turned John into like fan fiction, like a superhero, and I just send, like, when I'm about to go to bed or when I wake up in the morning, I'll just roll over and just speak into the phone. So here's me doing a bit of weird fan fiction where I'm kind of painting John into this whole scenario. Listen to this.
The power of the podcasting juggernaut.
I remember this one.
The triumph of the arm.
So these are all separated, but here's another one.
It was only then, when the evil magician returned to his lair, that he realized he had been followed by the Robin Hood type creature that is the arm. And he realized he was trapped. And he screamed.
So there's a bit of what you've been going through, and you haven't actually, you haven't replied to any of them without even a smiley face or anything. So while we're live now, to everyone, how do you feel?
I'm listening to. Well, have you ever been caught leaving one of those messages? Like somebody's in the background that they're there listening to you or walking. I've been caught. Like my sister caught me singing Jody Watley into my phone 2 weeks ago. And she's like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Some of the ones I've sent you are when I'm walking my dog, and I'll come around a corner and I'm holding the phone like at my mouth, not up by my ear. I'm just holding it down in my mouth, and I'm going, the juggernaut. And I come around the corner, and there'll be a woman, middle-aged woman, walking her little poodle, and she'll just be like, and because my eyes are like bugging out of my head because I'm in character, and I just go, oh, and I have to stop. It's very awkward, but I love it. I'm going to keep it coming. I know Sarah's. Oh, we got Sarah's giving me a classic sizzle bon. That's what she just wrote there, and I guess
Brendan says, I totally agree on Kinnison. If he were alive today, he'd be like Dice, washed up with one-trick pony. His shtick wouldn't have aged well. I agree, Brendan. 100%. This is David. Look at us. He hates this.
So the second phrase has triads in a lower register with an open voicing. I orchestrated them for 4 woodwinds, 2 clarinets, 2 bassoons, and 3...
Look at that hairline, Bob. Look at that thing.
Yeah,
look at that.
Trombones and tuba. The idea is that the UFO flies by on the second chord of each of these statements, so I want to add more stuff to the second chord to make it more emphasized.
David said stuff there. You know he meant to use like a $20 word. He was like, okay, look, I'm going to dumb myself down for the humanoids here. I'm going to say stuff when I could say something much, much better.
Yeah. He's slumming it. He's slumming it. Yeah.
Throughout both phrases, I have the flute and piccolo arpeggiating.
Arpeggiate!
Wow.
That's him really using it, and that's where I got the arpeggiate from him.
In sextuplet 16th notes, they're outlining the chord, whatever the chord is that they're over. I'll add some other notes to the sequence to make it more harmonically interesting. So for
I was thinking that too. If it needed one thing, is to be more harmonically interesting. It had to be.
Yeah.
It had to be.
This
For
is
example,
great.
if it's an A major chord, I'll add an F natural because to me that sounds kind of mysterious.
Very mysterious.
It's a great thing to do, to experiment with adding notes to different triads to see how it makes the emotion more specific. It's also important that the flute and piccolo aren't just an octave apart. Create harmony out of them. You can never have too much harmony unless it's too much when you listen back and then you change it. With the flute and piccolo doing sextuplet 16th notes, I'm also going to add the harp.
Now, you're a musician and a very good one. Do you understand this nomenclature?
I know I some of it, yeah.
Okay.
I know when he's talking about the arpeggiation and all that, because that's
What
the
about sextuplets?
notes that make up a chord. But no, I don't. He can read music. I can't read music. So everything he's saying, it's like if, like you, John, if they say basketball, they say he's dribbling it. He does it went off the rim or something, a slam dunk. You're like, I know all of them.
It's called
Yeah.
it's called a chutzpah rebound.
Yeah. The chutzpah of me to try and even get into basketball, but no, he can walk the walk and he can talk the talk. So you see, that's the
He's all
difference.
that. Yes.
I love that though, isn't he?
I have it
So
all queued up here. Benjamin says Victor the yoga instructor is actually my goldfish's name. What was you remember Arnold from Different Strokes? His goldfish was Abraham. You remember Gary Coleman?
God,
And
how could anyone know that? Is there anyone in the chat who's going to say that they know
I
that?
love Different Strokes.
That's so obscure
Ugly.
that you're talking about a goldfish. Wow, I'm
Abraham.
loving this.
I'm a big Dudley guy. I
My
love
spinal
Dudley.
column shuddered.
G. Canner says, poor Brittany Murphy. I thought you didn't follow pop culture, G. Canner. You're bringing up Brittany Murphy on King of the Hill. He always says that. Too skinny. Oh, God, you should see some of the messages G. Canada leaves me. I read them back to him in Mr. Feeney voice. He tries to, he basically, he says how untraveled I am and how much more masculine he is than me and how much more of a wild life. And he writes these dissertation screeds, and I read them back to him as Mr. Feeney, and we have a great time. We have a really good time. Who am I staying with? What is that? Skull. Californication. Oh, who am I staying? Oh, she wants to. We're gonna stay with my nephew and my other cousin. Hopefully, we're just gonna stay. I don't want to hear about blah blah blah. King of the Hill is putting us up, and we have her. None of that. I'm going right in. I'm on the staff that weekend. I don't want to hear bullshit. I'm right there. I don't want to hear any of that stuff. Right, Bon?
Oh yeah. I don't want any of that. I'm interested in the stories about you. That's what I want to know. The banter.
No problem with that. He's great at that. He's got all the. The other day I was telling a story about how he walked in on me listening to Dion Estes, Heaven Help, when I was in high school. It's like a George Michael doppelganger. Yeah, and he goes, "What the fuck are you listening?" It's this really kind of gay pop song from the late 80s, early 90s. And he walked into my bedroom listening to it. He's like, "What the fuck are you listening to?"
I
and
can't
to this day, he brings
tell
it up.
you it'll be a 4-hour show and get him. Is he living? I mean, does he have a mic and a microphone? Has he done podcasting ever? Because we got to get this guy on.
Yeah,
and
he
just
did a
be
couple.
so
He's done a couple
entertaining.
Zoom stuff. He'd be fine. He'd be fine.
I'm gonna fucking lose my mind if we get him on. I'm just gonna be like, tell us about John in the 90s. Just some. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fantastic and.
He's got all the dirt. He's got every book I've ever had in a bookshelf. He knows VHS videotapes I've had labeled. He's got all the dirt. I'm telling you, he's the guy. It would be. I just have to somehow. I'm gonna have to play him. Requesting him to come on. That's it. I don't know any other way. Every day I try some other new move, and
I'll edit you together a little clip of me begging during this. After the show to send to him because we got to get him on. Because does he love Mayor of Kingstown? I bet he does.
I told him if Mike Judge thinks he loves the avant-garde, then I'm going to give it to him. You know, Beavis and Butthead and the Office and what's it called, Office Space and obviously King of the Hill and all the stuff he's done. I'm like, I'll give it to him. I don't want to hear tell Mike Judge I'm running the show that weekend. I know more about comic books than anyone in that. It's Comic-Con. It's Comic-Con, not King of the Hill Con. It's Comic-Con. You have to name 3 members of Alpha Flight yeah, you have to name, all right, in order to get into Comic-Con, you should have to name 3 members of Alpha Flight in order to get in. That's obscure.
Yeah.
You have to, so they can't, and I can. I don't care if it's, New Warriors or something, but I know more about that culture than they do. It's called Comic-Con. And I'm telling you, a Deppening episode from Comic-Con will be amazing with Pamela Adlon talking about season 4. And new called old haunts for a new age is the name of the episode she was in season 4. It's a Halloween episode.
You know you're going to hear yourself saying that you're going to Comic-Con next year, next episode in a drop. I'm going to be all over it. I mean,
hold me to it. Hold me to it. I'll crash it if I have to. I'll crash my own cousin's fucking comic. What is it? What do they call it? A lecture hall 14 or something when they do that? I'll crash the thing. Throw me out. I dare you to throw me out. I dare you. All right. Here we go.
Have we even gotten to our episode, Marble Partners?
Yes, we're going right now. This is on. Look at this.
To a kingdom where everybody's treated like a king.
Oh my God.
Now this is a castle. For Trump's Castle reservations, call 1-800-441-5555.
Oops, sorry, wrong clip. So I put that on the last
this.
Deppening. The 21 Jump Street. I do a thing I do like a medley in the beginning to take you back to the late 80s. And so I put that commercial in with all the Jump Street Fox commercials just to make people feel like it was 1988. And that's when Trump really kind of hit, and he was all the casinos and stuff. And that was the commercial. If you live in New York, that was played like every 10 seconds. So I was hoping to get the nostalgia going.
Oh, it
I think
gets you in the mood for sure. I mean, that era. Oh,
how great would it be, Crazy Robin, if Mike Judge had to press charges against me? Yeah, Comic-Con. I'm doing it. Right. Thank you, Autobot. Autobot gets to go to Comic-Con. Vindicator, Puck, and North Star. He named 3 members of Alpha Flight. And Squadron Supreme is another one you could name. Not you, Autobot. I mean, in order to get into Comic-Con, you should have to name 3 members of Alpha Flight and 3 members of Squadron Supreme and Justice Society. And that gets you in. Okay, so I went and I wanted to, we were talking about Chauncey last time, Chaunce Hayden, Stepping Out magazine fame, and I mean fame. Good friend of mine, as a matter of fact. And Chauncey really, because, and I was going back and forth with David, and I believe you would talk about how I believe Chauncey was promised a show. I didn't say this last time. I believe one of Chauncey's rancor is that he was, like Howard did to everybody, as the huckster con man he was, he promised Chauncey a show on Sirius, and it never came to fruition. And so he reneges on that and then the Richard Christy thing. So Chauncey knows that the Richard Christy thing with taking John's job was fixed, and he's still angry about that. And I believe that drove him to turn on Howard mightily. And so he went into the Martha Stewart, insider trading stuff, and he's a con man, and he's a bait and switch bitch ass when it came to coming to Sirius, making all these promises he never followed through with. So I went and I gobbled up Chauncey during Chauncey's anger towards Richard Christy and Howard during the contest, and I put together some stuff, and I believe this was the beginning of the end with Chauncey. So ready? This is Chauncey in the Win John's Job concert. He hates Richard Christy, and we found, confirmed, the contest was fixed. It made no sense. Richard won.
Christy's heating up. This is the final week. Richard Christy, I made the mistake of complimenting him, telling him he was doing a good job, and right away Chauncey, who tried out for the job, wrote a letter to howardstern.com, which is posted up there.
What did he say? That you're trying to swing the vote?
He's saying, there's a love fest going on, and you're in love with Richard Christy, and this contest is fixed. And I'm like, well, wait a second. Hey, the guy had one day on the air.
This is summer of 2004, by the way. His Sirius announcement is a scant 3 months after this. So he knows he's going to Sirius. He knows he's going there, and he knows these guys are coming with him. And Richard has been hired already. So he's pretending that he's competing in this contest like everybody else is, but he's overselling Richard as this goes on, and it made no sense. So it's not just Chauncey saying this. Everyone's going, like Richard had no business even being in the contest. Like it's all guys who were kind of like fairly and by the way, yes, in fact, you guessed it. Shuley came in dead last. Chauncey was fifth, I think. Yucko came in third. So when Richard, Sal, Yucko. That was the top three.
He was good. And I said he was good. Same way I told Chauncey the days he was good.
Yeah.
But, man, I mean, it is heating up. I was reading on howardstern.com this letter. It is frightening.
Maybe we don't want Chauncey here for other reasons.
And I know. I mean, I don't think he's stable.
Right.
I mean, it's like, whoa, I compliment the guy. The guy had a terrific day. That's all. The dude is working overtime because he's got a bit for us today, and he's got another kind of, I guess, like a game.
Yeah,
You've done more homework than you really needed to do.
Yeah, I was here till about 3 in the afternoon yesterday working on stuff, and just been real busy. Want to make sure I got plenty of material.
This is Iced. You know that band Iced Earth, Bon?
Yes.
So Richard was the drummer for them, I guess. And so one of the theories, in addition to him not deserving to be, and they just crowbar, he'd already been hired. So in order to make it look legitimate, they have the contest. They say you can only vote from this day to this day. It's like a day and a half window. And so he tells Richard this, and he has his Iced Earth fan base flood the voting and vote for him. So he tells them when nobody else had this kind of level of, and when you see the results, Richard got this ridiculously, like 3 times as much as Sal in second place. It made no sense. And the only way you could do that if they to substantiate it was that he put the word out to his like death metal people, and they flooded the voting for him.
For sure. They'd be banned. Yeah.
This is something that I think is going to become a major part of the show. This is his...
I agree, Autobot. Alpha Flight in Marvel Cinematic Universe is the most, I think, the most in need of, the most desired, ridiculously not used, and I think needs to be put out there more than any other entity. I cannot believe they are the most underutilized, underrated. They are the Canadian Avengers, if anyone's wondering, Alpha Flight.
Well, you listen to this. What? Cliff, go ahead.
Yeah, the only thing funny about this guy is his Rube accent.
And so everyone's calling in saying, this guy sucks. What are you doing with Richard? Like, no one likes him. This is during the,
Yeah, the only thing funny about this guy is his Rube accent in all actuality. I mean, come on, this guy's like totally boring. He doesn't even have...
Is that Joey Boots on the phone?
No, it's not Joey Boots.
Joey Boots is in the contest, by the way, and he also came ahead of Shuley.
What, Zola? Who said Zola?
Zola.
Dude, man, I'll tell you something right now. Richard Christy's just a poor imitation of Song Parody Man. One-trick pony, buddy.
Yeah. By the way, Brendan, my friend Brendan from Sayville, he loves Dan the Song Parody Man as much as you do. And I made him a promise that we would do a Dan the Song Parody Man show just for you two. And we could turn it into, I mean, he has some like good fights and stuff. I think we could do that. I have no problem doing it.
We could. I never said I liked him. It's you guys who said I liked him.
No, you do. Come on. When you first came on our show, every clip you was like, Dan, you love Dan. Come on.
No, it was all to illustrate how Shuley sucked, but Monique got upset because she's like, who the hell is this guy? And
but I loved it.
Everybody started chanting that I'm in love with Dan, and I was like, no, I don't care about Dan. It's for the... Dan's intertwined with Shuley back then.
Because you actually have a similar skill set to Dan. You're both great guitarists. You both sound... But seriously, like I think you have a lot of similarities. And Brendan is...
I agree.
It's a compliment. It's a compliment. I was obsessed with you being obsessed with Dan because it's such an obscure person to care about.
I am obsessed with him, I guess. It was just... It was so funny. But you could do a show on Dan for sure.
We got to do it.
How Dan got owned and schooled by that show, treated so badly.
Pellel says, we subsequently found out that 100% of the show is actually fixed, and he's 100% phony. Yes, Pellel.
I don't know. I see a lot of material coming out of there. I think he's had a good job. I'd say.
Material, but so does Dan. He can't pull a whack pack. I haven't seen him do an interview. That's a
Skippington. Well, he had a good game yesterday.
Yeah, that was good, and I do like some of those bits. But
PCPO, I think the only voting that was fixed is Richard. Everybody else's was genuine votes. And I say fixed because they told Richard, hey, we got to make this look good. Get your fucking stupid Iced Earth fans to vote for you so we can show the statistics. We won't get caught. And he was instructed to do that because he knew how the voting was going to go down.
Let the week finish out.
I will, and you're going to get an opinion then. Hey, man, I don't like the fact that you're just being a copy of Dan, though, man. You know, come on, put some effort into it.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Man,
Well,
people are pissed, I guess.
What are you going to do?
You should ask Skip about, what is it?
You're on the air.
Hey now.
Hey now.
Hey, I want to say to Richard Christy Richard Christy, you really suck, man.
Thank you.
Personality of a flea. You really don't have any talent. Your Winnipegers suck.
Well, why aren't you?
Is that Bob Levy? Bond pretending to be a caller. He sounds like this.
Yes.
Listen back to this.
Yep. Yeah.
You can
Well,
see
why-
him doing this.
Talent. Your Winnipegers suck.
Well, why?
Don't have any talent. Your Winnipegers suck.
Well, why aren't you in here then?
Well, there's some of the negatives.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like you've gotten so much positive, but here's a guy that
I knew this was going to happen.
Backlash.
Everybody can't like somebody.
Right.
You suck too, thanks.
I thought that was Yucko the Clown anyway.
I think it was Chauncey again.
Hey, I think you're doing a fine job, Richard. Hey, Chauncey, you're on the air.
Hey, Howard, is it me, or does this guy take everything Sal does and just make it dull?
No, it's you.
No, it's just you.
All right, could be. That's just my opinion.
Boy, you are bitter.
I expected that answer from you, but I gotta tell you, it sounds real close to what Sal did.
One is based on what annoys you. The other is based on actual facts.
It's not that creative, Gary. It's really not that outside the box.
You would know about not being creative.
Up until this point, Richard's whole involvement in the show is making these Casey songs, these homoerotic Casey.
Yeah, and they were great though.
They were okay.
They were
fine,
funny
but that's
as hell.
all you knew him from. That's all he did, and all of a sudden he's elevated to this, and Casey doesn't even make it to 2005 really.
Yeah.
You want to cry about
Well, after Casey leaves the show, what's Richard's purpose at that point, right? You're going, okay, his thing is Casey songs, and Casey's not on the show anymore. So then you got to have to. It's just such a weird hire, especially it's such a New York show. You know, it's such a tri-state. Everyone's from Long Island or New Jersey or New York.
it?
Nope.
All right, Chauncey.
Fix is in.
What do you mean the fix is in?
Fix is in?
What do you mean?
What does that mean?
Oh,
my
God.
He's mad.
I guess it's the contest.
So the fix is in. Chauncey's holding back. He was told Richard was hired. Howard got drunk. You know how they call it truth serum. So they did one of these things where the bros went out, some fucking event, could have been the dysfunctional picnic or something. And Howard told Chauncey in confidence, probably drunkenly, wouldn't have said it if he was sober, that Richard had gotten hired already. And this is all bullshit.
It's fixed for you, pal. Good for you.
Everybody calling in upset because they see a winner, I
Well,
guess.
Chauncey was really upset that people don't like him. And Ronnie told me that Chauncey walked around the DFP and had like no friends. No one wanted to sit with him.
DFP means dysfunctional family picnic. And that was a K-Rock event where they would have the alternative acts that they would play on their playlist, you know, the same 30 bands, same songs over and over. And they would play a concert once a year. And Howard was like the guest of honor. Howard would get his own booth and shit. And they would, all the DJs would come on. It was I'd never gone to it, but it was called the Dysfunctional Family Picnic. And every year they would go. That's where Ross Zapin hit on Howard's daughter when she was 14.
Oh,
that's a good clip for down the road.
Yeah, it's amazing. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I only saw him once. I just said hello to him. I didn't.
That's when Howard was competing with Allison, and he would throw K-Rock tickets at his daughters to make Allison look bad, take him to Eminem shows and all this shit. Like inappropriate stuff for like teen girls who were 13 and
see how things were going. But, you know, when you were reading his little blog there the other day, I was like, the whole time.
Yeah, Chauncey was writing an ongoing blog talking about how the show is fixed. And this is like when, the internet's good. It's not as developed as it is now, but this is like '04, right? So you kind of like it was interwoven into the Stern Fan Network and stuff, and it was a pretty big deal at the time. If you had a blog, it was way like Chauncey was kind of ahead of Chauncey had what they called an internet radio show, and that's a podcast now. When there was no such thing as the term podcast, he had an internet radio show, which is what it is now. Richard is a closet case, says Villataro. He's done some funny phone calls, but Jesus Christ, those nude bits in the studio are never funny. I can't wait to do the streaking one, Jose. When if Sunflower sits in, it'll be great. We're gonna do it anyway, but it would be great if you get a broad in here who's worked in an office setting and how that. I think she's the perfect one to do it.
He was watching me. I didn't even know he was around.
Yeah, he's a weird guy because I was really helpful to him, I thought.
Autobot confirms that is Levy trying to bring down Richard. I totally agree. That definitely was Levy.
I agree for sure.
Thank you,
could
Pello.
hear it. It's amazing. It's amazing they tried to pull. If I'd been listening back then, I would have known that was Levy too back then.
100%, Brendan. Vindicator is one of the great superhero names. The leader of Alpha Flight. His name is James Hudson, and his wife is Heather Hudson, and they go by. And the other name he used was Guardian, and Vindicator is way better. I agree, Brendan.
And I try to help everyone that comes in. And in his blog, he writes, by Wednesday, I realize that Gary hates my guts. And I really don't hate the guy.
I know. He's just paranoid. Matt, go ahead. You're on the air.
Chauncey is such a ball buster in those years. He did not get enough. He caused so much trouble. We should do, and we can do, a whole Chauncey show. His shit is so the scores stuff when he wrote this book on scores and his fights with Ronnie. Chauncey he just does not get enough credit for the balls he broke. And so this is part 2 of this. This is kind of what I spent all of yesterday going after.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, thanks, Charles.
Hey, by the way, everybody loved Beetlejuice's sister last night on TV.
Yeah, you did well, man. You're just a little crying bitch, though.
You didn't have a good week.
Yeah, I don't know why you'd freak out if somebody else has a good week.
I'm competitive, man. I'm competitive. I want to win.
You know what, Sean? Your staff revelation should have been where Howard lives.
Thank you.
All right, take care, guys.
And Chauncey gets nuts because I said
Howard, we should have outed him here. He is obsessed. We always talk about how he's obsessed with dressing in drag. Every instinct he has is. By the way, when's the last time was drag ever funny? Does that even? Who does that make laugh? Are you that easily amused that a dude dressing in a woman's dress is fun? Howard is obsessed with all. If he's not wearing it, he's making someone else, and he cannot get off of putting Chauncey in a dress during this. It's just so. Where were we on outing him back then? He just can't get off it, and Gary has to act like it's the funniest thing he's ever. I can't wait to put Chauncey in a dress. That's gonna be so funny. I can't wait.
Said that the guy this week was pretty good.
Yeah.
And he gets into a mad tizzy.
The fix is in.
And then yesterday he didn't have. And then yesterday he didn't have a great guest, and then when I wasn't so good, and Chauncey calms down.
Right.
Can I say one thing about that, and I'll hang up about Rich Christy?
Yeah.
You know what it is, Howard? You sold him way too hard before he deserved to be sold.
What? I sold you. I told everyone.
Chauncey's spot on. I remember thinking that exactly what I'm like, what is with that? Why is he pushing? I couldn't believe Richard was in the contest at all because everybody else had some established, history with the show that they'd been on. And it just made no sense. And it's exactly what I was thinking that he oversold him.
I like it.
No, you played.
I love his stuff. I'm sorry.
We played, if you had some stuff, we played.
Yeah, whatever you had, I played.
No, your fans are like sheep. And when you say this is the guy I want...
You're out of your mind. What?
So right. That's so great. Your fans are like sheep. And when you said it's the guy I want, they're going to vote for it. He's right. How do you...
Of course. And how did... Then after it, once Richard's there, they just decide to let Sal win as well.
Because that's who should. Because they all knew that's who should have won. If you listen to the contest, Richard you would have not even thought of him when you were gathering up who you thought should have won. It would have been Sal. Whether you like Sal or not, he did that. He owned that contest, and he was great at that, and he's great at roasts. And Sara says here, I've seen a video. This Sarah's so weird with some of the stuff she goes after on. I've seen a video on Twitter of a Levy with an erection greeting his wife at the door. I'm traumatized for life. God,
Oh.
Sara looking.
I wish she was on and had said that into the microphone so
I
I
know.
could get that as a drop. We'll have to try and arrange something with her.
Yes, PCPBO. That was Deborah Stern. His middle daughter OD'd at the. That was actually the Z100 Jingle Ball. That was not the dysfunctional family when she OD'd on X. That's a whole other thing. And I actually have Howard beating around the bush talking about it. I put together. We played it on Gunk before, but it bears repeating so many times. That was Deborah. Yes.
Sal,
who is a social worker in the Crazy Robin vein, who I believe Crazy Robin should know and can know and has access to.
I was so complimentary to Sal.
Dan, the song parody.
And Dan, the song parody man as well.
Chauncey,
Not like this. Not like this.
If he sold him too hard with nothing, you'd have a complaint. But Howard was reminding the audience of who he was with stuff that he produced that everybody knows.
Thank you, Philly29. You are immense, sir. We say it every time. Sara thanks you, Venmo-wise, I guess. He's such a silent assassin, that Philly29. Never seeks publicity, never seeks credit, but here he is. I mean, he's the reason we can keep going with this thing. And
You finally find something that works for you, you brag about it.
There's your compliment. Thank you, Philly29. You are simply the best, to quote Tina Turner.
But it's only
You had no such material.
The contest has 5 aspects.
It was his first day, Chauncey. You're out of your mind. You can't criticize a guy his first day for only having song parodies. What did you have your first day?
My song parody.
Well, okay, so that's all you had.
But you only had one.
And now the guy's had a guest in here. He's had bits that he's written.
Thank you, Rick the Electrician. Welcome, sir. Hey, everyone. I love it already. Best year of the Stern Show is Howard, Robin, Fred, Artie, Stuttering John, and Casey. That time is when we all was... that's time when all those broken were very creative people and at the show all at once. Yes, sir, I agree 100%.
And song parodies and games.
Howard, even when he bombed yesterday, you couldn't bring yourself to say.
I said it wasn't good. You guy wasn't a good whack pack guy.
But
You're insane.
What did he say? What did he say?
It's not just me. Howard, if it was just me, I'd say you're right, I'm insane. But I'm not going to mention names, but it's people all around you.
Hold it a second.
What all around you? You mean in here?
That's a big lie.
And
I
Chauncey,
didn't talk to you.
by the way, when
You know, it's like Jason and Will and stuff like that.
Yep.
Crazy Robin's right. They have to crap on Chauncey. That's how you know he's right. They have to pile on him. They do the same tactic all the time when they know they're in the wrong. That's so true. So true, Crazy Robin.
when Reverend Bob Levy had his whack pack in here, I went, hey, dude.
No one believes you haven't read a comic book, G Canada. In fact, I'm going to read you comic books on our Voxer exchange just so I know, just so I can say you haven't, even if you're lying here, which I'm just going to read it to you just so you have read it and you can't say that anymore. And I'll read you Alpha Flight, in fact.
It didn't work. But I said, you're a real talented guy, and you can't judge you just on one thing.
No, wait a second. You said my web packet did work.
Reverend?
Reverend Bob. You're not even listening.
Oh, Reverend Bob. That's another thing. You should have gave Reverend Bob his last day. You should have.
Sometimes you can't get to... Listen, what he had planned the last day wasn't that strong. I did him a favor. Same with you. Some of the guys, I listen to some of their stuff. If it's not way up to par, we bail. That's all. The quality of the tape was almost not listenable.
You're lucky if he doesn't give you that day because you're going to be judged on it.
That's right. I try to help everybody.
Bragg is not funny, Crazy
I'm trying to
Robin.
figure out what Chauncey does all day. You know, he's got, what are you making calls, find out what everyone thinks?
You ask Reverend Bob. I made him go back and recut a bit using Artie's voice that he had done to make it funnier.
Made it much better.
Yeah, I mean, they helped everyone.
Yeah, but Christy's a little over the top, Howard.
All right, okay, whatever.
You know, it's not just...
You're just a baby. You're very sensitive.
I'm not being a baby. I'm not... I hope the best man wins.
How much did we rave about your interview with Howard? That was great.
And Beetlejuice's mom.
I mean, you're just a baby.
No, I'm not.
You're a crybaby.
Here comes a drag. Immediately he goes, says, immediately. I don't think, look at Chauncey, I can't wait to put him in a dress. There's nothing funny enough about it to obsess over it. Like, unless you're gay. And this is all your mind constantly goes to transvestite things. It's the default in every situation. Brendan says, I'm not sure I love that in the song parody, man, but I just did find him interesting and hilarious as a fellow poonhound like Bonja. He loves saying poon.
No,
but you know it's
I'm a
Brendan. If he
poon.
has like a fake, you know when the guy says poonhound, it's Brendan. You know it is.
I can't believe Sunflower said I'm a poon hound. That's out of control. John, I've got to go and do a couple of things, so I'll be back shortly.
Oh my God. Sara, get on quick. I can't be by myself. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I saw you in the
listening.
private. In your credit, you gave me a heads up, and I'm doing.
Back
I'm
soon.
yes, I know. Okay.
I'll be listening. I love it. But I'm Sunflower. Take that back about the poon hound. Okay, I'll be back soon.
See it now.
Upset over you, Howard.
You're just delusional. Andy, go ahead. You're on the air.
Chaunce.
Right, Jose. Here's the whole staff in drag. Who's looking for Jason Kaplan in drag? Why? Why does that interest you so much? You know it's not comedy. There's something else going on, and we should have been on to that back then. And we just sort of like, let's just whatever, drag. Every time he goes on Letterman, every instinct he has, every reflex. I'm gonna dress in drag, or my staff is gonna dress in drag. That is not a heterosexual man who thinks like that.
What's the matter with you? Why are you hanging the guy? He gave you several opportunities. First of all, after scores, you should have been booted off the show permanently. He gives you a chance for the...
Canada's right here. He says Howard's always desperately wanted to be a gorgeous 16-year-old girl. Yeah, all the teen shows he watched. How many middle-aged dads watched Dawson's Creek and 90210 and Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Felicity? Could you imagine walking in on your 50-fucking-something dad watching Felicity and Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Dawson's Creek? Could you imagine in civilian life, what if you're a girl in high school and you walk in and your dad's watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Dawson's Creek, and it's his whole life and schedule revolve, and if he misses it, he has people recording it for him. Who does that in civilian in pedestrian life?
job and you're still crying. You are never happy when you're on the show. Never happy.
Never.
You hang the show every opportunity you get to hang.
So you can see Howard's noodle through the golf dress. Sara's always doing the crotch cam. She's always at dick level every time.
The show. And you come on the air and you think crying was going to help you. When you said about Spider-Man crying and laughter, I'm like, I'm sure he was crying during Spider-Man.
I just did.
And I love how he always has these unnamed sources who agree with him.
I can tell you what these are. There's no way you're getting the job. There's no way you're going to get the job. Just the way more time you got. When we get honesty, whether I get the job or not, when we get honesty. You won't get it. When I cried, it was honest. Everything was honest.
Who told you?
When you cried, I was looking for the pacifier. That didn't help me at all. That made me chuckle. You didn't turn the dial, jackass. You listened because it was enjoyable radio. Hey, listen, just because your boyfriend left the toilet seat up.
Look at G. Cannon. He can't handle that Howard's daughter was on ecstasy. He needs that. He has a better constitution than a 14-year-old girl, so he has to comment. Howard's daughter did not OD. She's just a typical rich kid who took a little too much drugs and freaked out. Of course, her overbearing mother rushed to her hospital dead bedside in a tizzy fit. That's G. Canada's way of saying I have a better constitution than a 14-year-old Deborah Stern.
This morning, I'll come talk about that girl there, pal. You know what I mean? You're entertainment. You were entertained by me.
Chauncey, who agreed with you around here?
I'm not going to give names. There's no... Hey, Harris.
Sure.
So Chauncey's getting it, and I believe every word he's saying. Sunflower Dragon agrees. She says there's absolutely no way Richard Christy won that contest. Sal was the clear winner, and everyone knows it. That's why they also hired him, because they had hired Richard, but then they saw the audience's reaction to Sal, and everybody knew he was the best. Spot on.
Hey, Howard. A lot of people.
No one.
Hey, Howard, for the laughter, you got any cash flow?
That's a theory, right? That Joey Boots 9/11 thing was, yeah, they think that was fake too. I was zipping through that just now, and that's a different show. But yeah, that was the theory that those they were faking the 9/11 story.
No,
we have a new policy. We don't give out cash.
Yeah, but I'm not here to...
And everybody calls in and asks for cash.
Steve ran his easy.
Stop that.
Yeah. That's a good guy, but I can't give him cash.
Like I said, I pretend that I was in the Pentagon that day, and nobody, that's...
But Chauncey, you got to calm down.
All right, hey, you got to go, Chauncey.
All right, guys. Hey, you know what? Next week, I hope the best man wins.
Okay.
How long does the voting last, as a matter of fact? Do we know?
I think I know, but I don't really remember.
Oh, Howard's too cool to know what the voting consists of. I don't really remember, and that's a telltale sign right there that he's fixed the contest. He doesn't remember he doesn't really want you to know. It's almost like how he doesn't give the phone number out, but he doesn't want you to know when the voting is, so Richard can magically have this crazy, weird. I mean, it was when he said the results, and I'll get to that.
Kind of recall maybe 1 week or something of voting, something like
How
that.
do you not know your own contest voting?
Probably knows. Oh, here it is. He knows. How long is the voting open for?
The voting starts at 6 a.m. on Monday morning and ends at midnight on Wednesday.
Oh, that's good.
Plenty of time to vote.
So by the
Yeah, PCP has a great point here. John the Stutterer tried out, and he lasted only a few days. It was just too taxing for him. He can't handle anything that's like with that level of pressure. John the Stutterer is, I certainly like true music aficionado. I like that guy. I really genuinely felt sorry for him, how tortured he was. I mean, he's genuinely tortured. Huge libtard like me too.
end of the week, we'll know.
We're gonna Thursday morning. We're gonna have the all 10 in, and we're gonna start announcing.
Wow,
that's good.
Can you imagine that room? How awkward that's going to be?
No.
Well, it's only awkward for you.
No, it's not. You think so, Gary? I don't know if you're out of the loop or you're just not being honest. But it's not going to be awkward just for me.
Out of the loop about what?
You know what?
About people don't like us, or people
don't
like each
worry.
other.
I'm not going to say a word. I'm just going to show up and have a good
You've already
time.
said too many words, so just say what you think. Are people mad at us, or people mad at each other?
People are mad at you guys and at other people. Both. I would say both. And a lot of people that work at that station.
There's no doubt about it. There's people who want to be elevated. There are people who want to be on the air. There are people who don't want anything, that don't understand how Richard got elevated. There's no doubt Chauncey's telling the truth, and Gary's doing that plain stupid thing he's so good at, being the human shield for Howard and all the shady shit that goes on. All About the Tendril said there are variations of drag, a true yearning to be seen who is you are really are on the inside as or drag as activism or a combination of both. Sunflower Dragon says, was drag even funny like in the 30s or something? I don't know, but everybody it is the most comedically bankrupt thing to go to, and that's what Howard goes to at any given. I'll dress in drag, cover my book, dress in Letterman, dress in drag, myself, dress in drag. Could you imagine the creative meetings they have? It would be funny just to bring that up, like just to fucking troll him and break balls, and just say dress and drag and see if just watch him go along with it each time. If you worked on that show,
Imagine who you possibly could talk to.
He's lying.
Yeah.
Who is mad at what?
He's confiding in you.
I tell you what.
I got it.
Where's my mother's wife?
Could it be Cabby? Could be mad? That's a lot.
No,
of
I don't talk to Cabby.
Well, who's mad at who?
I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to put anybody under the bus.
Hey, this could be a staff revelation and get you some votes.
yeah, Jose Villatar. I was thinking about that creepy Howard, and it's all my great thoughts are in the shower, oddly enough. And can you imagine at 70 years old, your dad is looking at Instagram, at teenagers on Instagram at 70, like Lori Loughlin's daughter. You know, you've heard the list of even someone like Emily Ratajkowski, who's in her early 30s. That seems way too young for this guy to be looking at and obsessing over. How many guys in their early 70s are looking at Lori Loughlin's daughter on Instagram or YouTube channel? And that's what he's all weekend he's fixating on, and he starts to it's actually no more noble than for Beth to be looking at it. Honestly, you're not a young hot starlet. You're 50 fucking 2. You're not a model. Emily Ratajkowski's not competition for you. She's up here and you never were. And I could care. Emily Ratajkowski's overrated and shit for whatever reason. People rally around these and they make these models, and I don't understand why someone is elevated over another person, and that line's been blurred now with all the Insta hoes, and everybody can kind of create their own modeling thing. But yeah, why she's elevated makes no sense. But Howard and Beth obsessing over these young people I think Beth doing it is just as creepy as Howard doing it, as a matter of fact. Honestly, it's not more noble. You're not in the industry.
You know what it is? When he doesn't reveal, that means he doesn't know.
Anything.
He doesn't have any. He's just throwing stuff out there.
I swear on my mother's life.
I don't know anybody's mad at us.
It's like it's Leah Remini.
Because they're afraid of you. People are afraid
Wait a minute. You're talking about inside these walls. There are people who are upset with us?
Well, I tell you
People are
what.
afraid of being called a crybaby.
Crazy Robin, how would you diagnose John the Stutterer? Because I never seem to accurately or appropriately or even try to do it on the show itself. How would any mental health, armchair or not, how would you diagnose John the Stutterer's ailments and mental disabilities? And it's probably a long list, but what would you say is the main thing if you had to quickly sum him up as the LSW, CSW you are?
When you listen to me.
Correct.
When you're in here for the final vote, the voting will already be done.
Right.
Come in and tell us what you're talking about.
I think there'll be a line of people ready to come in and tell you how they feel.
Oh, okay.
All right, that's
you know
good.
what I think he's now saying? He's saying the contestants are upset.
Right. Not just contestants.
Oh, really?
Not just contestants.
Then who else?
Employees?
Sure.
Chauncey, everybody I know that counts for this contest is not upset about it. I don't know who you're talking to. And
A lot of people, Gary, a lot of people, and there's no way I'm going to name who they are.
And I'll tell you, if you don't say something now, but if you tell us that morning, it's useless. The vote's already done. Tell us now.
How am I supposed to bring under the bus like that?
You're not throwing anyone under the bus, but you sound like a psychotic bitch. That's
Brendan's right here. Comic books have such an underrated command of the language. I learned so many big words because they're dealing in science fiction, and they have to know these words. It's just such an underrated vocabulary wielded by the comic book community. Some really, really great, smart writers that really write some deep, deep stuff. I couldn't agree more, Brendan. All About the Tendrils says, Arm, the show is like Halloween, giving the perfect opportunity to dress like a woman. Yes, Tendrils. Yes, yes, yes.
what you always do. You always go, it's like the blonde.
We're Crazy Robin's right. I mean, ultimately, Howard wants to be and look like these young starlets. That's the way a gay man thinks, right? And you're perpetually locked in the year you got famous at, which I believe in George Clooney's theory about that.
Blind item in the New York Post.
Right.
It's like, oh man, everyone's really upset.
Yeah, Millie Bobby Brown, Pell-El. We've gone over that a million times. That's one of the creepiest ones ever. And they got a whole medley of that, in fact. Howard's Chauncey's busting him here, and you could tell Chauncey's telling the truth, and he's blowing up his spot, and Howard's worried that, but no one's going to come forward. They're all afraid of him. Chauncey's also right about that.
You find out you don't have anything.
All right, okay, you're right. I'm pulling back. You're right. I apologize.
You're damn right you
Nobody
are.
has any ill feelings.
No, you
Nobody
do.
does.
You have ill feelings, and you want to project those on everyone else.
Okay, okay, I'll go with that. You're right.
Everybody I
Absolutely
met
right.
here,
That's me.
everybody who came down here for the job was kind of like, hey man, I had a really good week. It was a lot of fun. I had a good time. And quite
so many people.
Do you think Howard, the control freak that is, you really think he's just going to let a contest dictate who he brings in there? You really think you really think he'd ever just leave it up to the audience? You really think this is genuine? Honestly, you know what this guy, as he plots everything with Buchwald all the time, and you know how that goes, you really think he's going to leave this up to the audience, which he quote pisses on and has no respect for, that they're going to pick someone that is on this show in that capacity? Really?
Upset that tried out for this job right now. You have no idea.
What are they upset
All right,
about?
so what are they upset?
I would say 75%.
All right.
Furious.
Good. What are they upset about?
What are they upset about? That you sold Chris.
I agree, PCPO. Crazy Robin doesn't think it's anything specific. It's definitely an OCD and a hyper anxiety disorder. He definitely has a hyper anxiety disorder of some kind. That's a given. That's absolutely a given. He cannot take stressful situations at all in a professional environment. He had the show on a 101. He had a political show from 7 to, I forget the title of it, and it was a very angry left-wing political show.
All right.
Furious.
Good. What are they upset about?
What are they upset about?
Huge
That
Philly
you
accent.
sold Christy harder than you did anyone else.
Holy
and
mackerel.
it sounds like you're just giving him the job.
I can't give him the job. It's up to the audience to vote.
I cannot believe how spot on Chauncey is here. Prophetic, and he just lays it out. He's gotten the job. Chauncey knows that he's been given the job. But I have a theory that Howard doesn't remember in a drunken state telling him that he fixed the contest. So they were announced, like, could be the dysfunctional family picnic, could have been another one of those events where the staff would go out, could have been like one of those deals, and Chauncey got invited. He always kind of worked his way into these things. And then Howard told him this, and then drunkenly forgot he told Chauncey that Richard had already been hired. And Chauncey's now kind of telling him, Chauncey's not repeating the story back to him that Howard was drunk and told him this already. And he knows it, and he's trying to, drag this out. But I honestly think Howard doesn't remember telling Chauncey he'd already hired Richard.
I mean, I don't think. See, anything I say sounds like my whining bitch. So it's not
you
worth it.
are. You are.
You're a whining little girl.
No, it's not. You know what?
You're a little girl who needs a little dress.
You know what?
A little sundress.
A dress, a sundress. Gary, a dress.
When you come in here, wear a dress, please.
Chauncey, you know what your problem is? You had a great week, and you're so unlikable, you're screwing it up for yourself. You had a great week.
Sunflower says, guys, we can't generalize that all gay men want to be women. Yes, we can, Sunflower. That's exactly what we're saying. All gay men want to be women. That's what Sunflower is saying, and we all agree. So Sunflower is saying, not me, Sunflower is saying all gay men want to be women, and we can generalize all we want. That's a very controversial statement, Sunflower, but I gotta stick into your guns. I love it.
Week, you were good.
Gary, I don't care if anybody likes me. I'm telling you how I feel.
Yes, you do. That's the problem. You care too much if anybody likes you.
You keep saying you don't care if anyone likes you. You're the bitch who was crying down here because nobody...
Rick the electrician is right, as usual. By the way, Rick, you are also a Southern California guy. We're going to see you at Comic-Con as well next year. I told my cousin, it is a lock. My cousin Mark and my nephew Chucky, we're going down there, and we are crashing all things King of the Hill and Mike Judge. Bank on it. And I am getting Pamela Adlon for a Jump Street interview. Howard and Don are in complete control of everything involving money. Yes. Melvin says, I hate to say it, but I agree with the Sunflower Dragon. Wigward is a closeted trans. Yes, he is. Of course he is. And he's a man who wants to be a woman who's attracted to men. Is that gay? Yes, who knows? Tamara Francois says, I didn't listen as often as you white people did. She means you white people, as you gray boys did, and I agree with that. But tell me, how come no one saw Howard how come no one saw Howard who he was, and how come no one said it? Because they're lapdogs, and they don't want to. They can't. They are all acolytes, and the job, and it's written on the wall, make Howard happy. There's no one's going to push back like Chauncey is here. Chauncey could never be hired on the show, even though it would be really interesting and he'd have fights like this all the time.
Likes you. People were calling
That's
up.
not why I was crying.
Yes, you were, because I remember exactly what.
I don't remember Sunflower if John the Stutter had a medication. That's a good one to go back. I haven't listened to him, John the Stutter, in a while. I assume he was on some kind of meds. Is Adderall meant for that? Adderall is a focus, right? It's not what people use it for now, but it's meant to be extreme focus or something like that, and it's an anti-anxiety.
Remember that day he came in all bummed out?
I was reading all the hate mail about you, and you started crying like a little bitch. You do care. Why do you say you don't care? You do care. You don't even know yourself. You should come on and say, you know what? I get really affected by what people say. Every time someone opens their mouth about me, I cry. Because I'm a girl. I'm a little girl who sits in the corner with a dress and pretty sandals. Do me a favor, Gary.
It's still with the drag. He cannot get off it. The drag. Listen to him. He's now. He is myopic with the drag. It is no going back. I drank the Kool-Aid. We all did, Pell. And I will always acknowledge what was great about the show. But this is a different deal. We all did, and we all agree. There's David. Welcome, sir. I cannot wait to do the City of Lies show with you on Patreon with Crazy Robin and Johnny Meyer. Wear a dress, please, Miss America. Yes. Maybe we should have Johnny on too for the City of Lies. He fucking does. He was an extra on it. Johnny was a background actor on that. Maybe we should have him on. Why didn't I think of that? We're doing a City of Lies commentary, Johnny, and you're welcome. With Crazy Robin and David, who are both Southern California people and can tell us the landscape. My favorite Depp movie in the last, let's say, decade and change. It's a story about. Originally, it was called Labyrinth, L.A. Labyrinth, and it's about the story of the investigations of the Christopher Wallace Notorious B.I.G. murders in the kind of South Central Los Angeles deal, and the Tupac feud and everything like that, and all the things involved in it, and the Russell Poole, the investigator, and the corrupt LAPD involved, and it's set in the 90s, and it's Depp in his best genre of crime biopic, edgy crime biopic, and he plays Russell Poole, the head investigator.
Gary, when he comes in here, what size foot do you have? What's your name? Chauncey. What size foot do you have?
9.5.
All right. Give me a 9.5 women's sandal, whatever that computes to.
It's doing a guy size. That's probably an 11 or something.
Okay.
What do you
I'd like to see, again, talking about women. Howard knows women's shoe sizes. Anxiety disorder is a diagnosis. Yeah, and there's a lot of categories of it. I think the hyper awareness now, not hyper, but mental health awareness now is greater than ever, and I think it should be way taken more seriously. And you're going to see more labels of anxiety disorder. Hyper anxiety has become a thing people are aware of now.
What's your waist size?
I hate you.
What's your waist size?
My waist size is 32.
Please.
All right, give him a size 38. Extra large. Sundress. A sundress mini skirt.
Yeah, Chauncey is persona non grata Holden now, and this is one of the ways he's working up to it. It's not just this, but it's what we're going into the insider trading thing when he blew up Howard's spot, and then he blew up his spot for blowing off Gary's dad's funeral. So it's a number of things. He had a death threat from the Stern Fan Network because of that, and I have that audio here. I made it, and we'll get to that at some point. It's in my folder, but he's persona non grata in a lot of ways, which is good for our purposes, and he should be. I mean, if you're persona non grata, you're for that level, that point in the show, you're doing something right.
And Chauncey, if you could shave your legs and be prepared to look pretty on camera.
I hate you so much.
All right, whatever. All right.
That day I cried. You looked at me and said, Chauncey, that was great radio.
Yeah, it was. It was terrific. But now
Melvin's given an update on what Sunflower Dragon just said. He says, to summarize, Sunflower Dragon had just said that we should all bring back segregated drinking fountains, not only by race, but by gender. And that's wild. It's a wild opinion in a show of revelations.
But the whining hasn't stopped.
And you know what else? He's not saying.
You could stop crying now.
Thank you, Johnny. Right. There's well said. On the City of Lies set, there is a definitive undercurrent of disorganization on that set, which was Depp set the tone. When its star is getting all the money and his name's over the production, is late all the time, wasting production days, it's going to be disorganized. And then you have the assault thing with Rocky Brooks, the location.
It's not even saying you take everything the wrong way. How is that saying it was a bad thing?
Yeah, Sarah's right. Please hit like and subscribe, please. Right now. Do it. You better. I just fake punch the screen. Please hit like and subscribe for the Saras. She is a ball buster. And I am as intimidated by her as anyone is, and deservedly so. Would you want this bearing down on you after a show?
President Trump summoned the mob, assembled the mob, and lit the flame of this attack.
I got to get that all the time, or this.
I say this to my Republican colleagues who are defending the indefensible. There will come a day when Donald Trump is gone, but your dishonor will remain.
I have that directed at me, or are you getting this?
And it cost him, because I anonymously forwarded the evidence we gathered to the authorities. Halo's real name is Gabrielle Dow, 16 years old, Karaki refugee, was working as a servant in the Markovian royal palace. Clayface, Livewire, and Mist were all discovered to have Hatter's nanotech in their systems.
Yeah, and that's bearing down on me after every show. You don't want to be in my shoes when you face Sarah's ire.
That you cried goofing on you. He's saying that you cried because you're so affected by what people think of you.
Yeah, and then you're the guy who always goes, I don't care what people think. Dude, you must say, I don't care what people think 900 times a phone call.
I take blood pressure medication, PC, from my my last 6 months of downward spiral. I'm on that, as a matter of fact. I forget the name of it. It's a generic, I forget, Lasardo or something.
Which means you care a lot.
Yeah.
Tommy Lasorda.
By the end of that week, I had a breakdown.
But over what?
Normally I can
You didn't have any
Normally
sleep.
I can take it.
Scrubby, Brendan.
You can't take anything, man. You're like so sensitive. And you really do need to wear a dress when you're down here. And I'm going to have pretty sandals, and if you want, we'll get you a petting.
Still going with the drag, still going with the dress, still going with the. It just can't get off it. He can't ever get off it. Where were we back then? We didn't pick up on this. Crazy Robin's Adderall is a stimulant used to combat stimulants in the brain to produce calm, which allows one to focus. But the drug is in and out of your system within hours. I didn't know that. I thought it lasted a while. Huh. I still don't know where to get it. Still can't get it. Everyone in the world can get Adderall except for me. And then where's G Canada is going to pounce on that? I don't understand where everyone's getting it, where everybody has the benefits to get it at their leisure for all the wrong reasons. I still don't get it.
The cure, everything a girl does to make herself feel pretty. And Chaunce, if you win, I'll get you a bunch of dresses for the 3 months.
Gary going along with the queen. Brendan says, David, your commentary is missed. I couldn't agree more, Brendan, by the entire chat, but your scissoring is missed by only arm alone. And I agree with that as well.
Yeah, I'm going to get you a whole rack.
He and I scissor, Brendan, to Pete Buttigieg interviews and press conferences.
Every day, if you happen to pull this out and win, you're going to have a pretty dress and pretty pair of sandals every day.
Here he comes.
Yeah, you're going to look really pretty.
Hey, Chaunce, if the other contestants are really upset, they're really letting you hang out to dry here, man. I mean,
that's okay.
Thank you, Tamara Francois and Autobot. It is called Losartan. Thank you. You'd be like a pharmacist knowing that, for Christ's sake. That is not a very household name drug.
That's all right.
Why are they talking to Chauncey?
I think it's one of those things where Chauncey talks to everyone and says, doesn't this suck? Isn't this bad? And they just go, yeah. And suddenly they're all right.
Yeah, Chauncey, Casey Armstrong would kind of back away because he has to be involved in this. He's right in the mush. I mean, he's ground zero. It all has to go through KC, so it would be an admission that he was in on it.
Yeah, I think Gary, you're probably 100% right.
Well, we'll see.
He probably is.
Well, when you come down here, we'll see if anybody agrees with you.
And you say it's not only contestants. Who are you talking about?
Who else could it be?
People who work here.
You can figure it out.
Ronnie.
You know, Crazy Robin's right. Like, he's talking to Chauncey like he's Richard Simmons with this drag shit. And I remember listening to this live and going, get off what is with, and we hadn't outed him yet, certainly back then. This is now, you got to remember, this makes you feel, this is 20 years ago, this shit. Can you believe that? I remember this like it was 2 weeks ago. This is 20 years ago, this damn clip.
Ronnie and Scott the engineer?
Why would they be mad? I don't know what he's talking about. You know what? He doesn't have a thing to go on because he'd say it. I know Chauncey.
I can't believe Melvin's memory. That is my favorite sandwich. That's my favorite. The superhero hoagie, the chicken cutlet hoagie with lettuce, tomato, bacon. I don't use ham on it though. Some people do. I don't like the cordon bleu thing as much. I wouldn't put ham on it, but all that stuff I would put on. You're right. Some kind of cheese too. Maybe like cheddar, sharp cheddar and mozzarella. That I cannot believe you remember that, Melvin. Boy, we missed you. And that brain.
I swear on my.
According to Tamara Francois, you can get Adderall everywhere. I don't understand where, Tamara. Target, Walmart, where? What does everywhere mean? I don't have dealers. I don't have fucking Nathan Holmes getting me whitey stuff. Where are people getting this Adderall? Can you get it at 7-Eleven? Or what is the one in Philly? What is the convenience store again in Jersey and Philadelphia?
Mother's life.
All right, so who?
There are people that work around you that cannot believe this whole week.
Yeah, but your primary care physician, Jose, has to give it. They're going to get sued. They can't just give it to you. They're not drug dealers. You have to have a diagnosis that requires it. You can't just go. I can't go to my say, give me Adderall because I want to be jacked up and I want energy. I want unnatural energy. He's going to go, no, I'm not going to get sued. I'm not giving. Who can? Am I the only one that can't bully his primary physician? Am I doing something? I don't want it. I'm just saying, how does everybody have it? I just want to know. There was a time though when I felt like in the depths of my depression there I was going, yeah, maybe I just need some medication to just kick me in the ass like that. And I contemplated that, but you can't bully your general physician to give you drugs you want unless you're Depp and Dr. Kipper.
They're upset about the week too.
Yeah, big time.
That's true.
Who? Won't say it because you don't have any information.
You could say it. No one hears it.
Yeah, Autobots on it. That's right. So here Chauncey is kind of hinting that he knows who, and then Howard's like, "Tell me." He's doing that thing. Remember with Matthew Berry, and when Matthew Berry was told about the red flag list, Howard's doing that thing now. He thinks Chauncey's not going to call him on it and call his bluff, but Chauncey doesn't really break.
No, you won't say it because you don't have any information. You could say it. No one here's going to get fired from what you say.
No.
They're not. I haven't fired one person for
I'd rather you say that I'm lying. I'd rather you just say that I'm lying.
Okay, whatever. You're lying.
Anybody who's upset about the week, please come in.
Like I said, you're a pussy. You won't
People
say
are
it.
afraid.
You're a pussy.
No, I'm not gonna
Because you're a pussy. Because you're a pussy, and you cry, and you can have a nice, pretty dress and sandals down here. Yes, Mark.
I guess I am.
Yes, Mark.
Howard,
Yeah.
if this guy gets the job, I will never listen again. I'll tell you what. Don't worry. Don't worry. He's so full of crap. How does he think that you have any influence on Richard getting the job? I mean, it's ridiculous. That's right.
Well, I might have some influence. I'm not saying I might not have some influence.
Chauncey knows the show very well, and he stepped on him, but Chauncey in the background, it's muffled. He just goes, yeah, now he's got a whole board lined up of people saying that he's not. That's exactly how the show works. And Howard's looking at the board, and Chauncey knows exactly. Chauncey was actually used in the Jackie chair for a while. You know, like they would have shows where multiple people would sit in, and you'd have Chauncey sitting in the same day of, like, say, Doug Stanhope or Greg Fitzsimmons or Jeff Ross or Chappelle or Joe. That's something I really want to do, is a rotating Jackie chair series, and we're going to go through all the comedians that sat in over that time. And it's a pretty strange list. Some of them aren't even comedians. You know, you had Florentine, and then the non-comedians like Vinny Favale and Chauncey and AJ Benza, a lot of Richard Johnson. There were gossip columnists. There were.
I'll say when somebody does something good, and like Simon on American Idol, I'll try and sort of say, hey, I thought you did a really great job.
Well, you know,
You said he did a good job too, and he's crying.
I know, he's insane. He doesn't hear when he's
taking me. I want to drive off the road.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. So it's cut to the contest. They announced the winner, and they kind of go after Chauncey. And so here's a video of that, Chauncey versus Richard Christy. And this is them in studio, and they announce the results. And this is the strangest thing ever. Who are these people getting Adderall? Smell it.
Like, you know, the finals of America.
Oh, and I wanted this too. So one of Sarah's best lines, Sassy Sara, she did a meme, I guess it was. It's a look at fucking Howard. Look at this look Howard has. So Sara wrote a meme out that said, "Button up your shirt, old man." And it's him falling asleep at a concert with Beth. Look at this. Look at how ridiculous he looks. He's 50-something years old. Ralph's telling him that he looks sexy in this rock star look with the plunging neckline. He's fucking ridiculous. Look at this.
American Idol.
Yeah, that's right.
Today's the finals. Who got John's job?
He and Robin should switch necklines here.
The voting is done.
I feel confident. You know, it's been a long time since I was in here, but hopefully people remembered me. I think I'd be great for this job. Love to come in here and work every day with you, especially.
Thank you, Jose.
Dan.
Thank you, Jose. There's Dan. I'd say I left this in deliberately for you and Brendan.
Yeah.
I did not need to keep this. So when I was making this yesterday, I left this deliberately in for you and Brendan to jerk off to. Jose, I want to, yes, please do. Ask him what the deal is with the fucking Adderall. Because it just seems like you know how, like, you know, you go to like an office and they have it's like they have jelly beans at the desk for the receptionist, and it's just Adderall, and people just reach in and grab Adderall on the way out. That's what it seems like, and I'm the only one that doesn't have access to this.
With you, especially my good pal Ronnie. You know, we become regular buds during the week that I was here, and I'm just looking forward to it. Hopefully, if everybody said that they were going to vote.
Meanwhile, Chauncey's in a dress.
Well, Chauncey's in a dress because we put him in one.
Look at the plunging neckline, Bond. Look at this. What is he doing? Look at that. Where were we back then with this?
So then Sal comes in.
And then you're going to have to reveal who you voted for, Artie.
So this is everybody in the contest coming in at once. There's Chauncey in the dress. Ha, ha, ha. God, I cannot stop laughing. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. Putting a guy in drag is the best. There's Diane D. It's very regulated and hard to get. There's a shortage of generic Adderall now. It's name branded. Oh, I forget the name of the I looked up the generic name, Diane. I did.
Chauncey's a good sport. He's in his dress, and he does deserve to be.
So here we go. From left to right, we have Chauncey, Yucko, Sal, Dan.
Being one, because all you've been doing, dude, is whining and bitching every.
Dan's last name is Cooper, by the way. Dan, the song parody man, Cooper. Could be a fake name. I know he's Jewish. Cooper is not a Jewish or Italian last name. Pat Cooper's last name is Caputo, and he made it Cooper.
Since this contest got started.
Okay, there's Shuley. Look at fucking Shuley Bomb. There's your guy. Comes in dead last with all these guys.
Honest to God.
Joey Boots.
He's pretty tall. He must be wearing heels.
My assessment of the group is that Chauncey.
And Richard.
Assessment of the group is that Chauncey is so paranoid. I thought you did a really good job. You were one of my favorites, and you're one of those guys who fails to recognize when he does well. And every little thing ticks you off, and every little thing sets you off.
So in other words, you don't want somebody who's going to be honest and express his feelings. You want somebody to go, whatever you say.
Listen to this email. Listen to this email. To Jason. He writes it to Jason, of all people.
Yeah, he's bitching to Jason.
Why does he write it to Jason? Because Jason's the only one that gives his email address out back then. So you don't understand how to even write the show. Who writes the show? Like they never say it. So Jason actually would give the address out. That's who reads it. That's why I get
crazy.
When I wrote questions out for the Bruce Hornsby, Howard had Bruce Hornsby on in 2006, and I know him very well from the 90s, late 80s, and he's a Grateful Dead. He sat in and sang "I Did Keep" when Garcia died, and he sang him. So I knew a lot about Hornsby. I like him. I think he's a great songwriter, social, consciously great songwriter. "The End of the Innocents" is one of the best songs I think in the history of pop music. And he wrote that, and him with Henley. And so I knew a lot about Hornsby. I wrote questions for the show, and I submitted them to, and Jason gave and they used half my questions in the actual interview without crediting for me. So someday we'll go over that.
There you go.
Yeah, they never credit, and all verbatim my questions for Hornsby, and they used them. And I sent them to Jason, and he used them from that.
Chauncey sucks. Yeah, wait, listen to this. Okay. I'm seriously considering dropping out of the contest. This isn't a bit or a joke. Right now, I'm leaning towards not coming in on Thursday, and here's why.
Now he's dropping out?
Joey Boots' fake crack family is a slap in the face to those poor...
There you go, Sunflower. So they think that's fake. The Joey Boots thing with 9/11.
Fake crack family is a slap in the face to those poor people and their families who lost their lives on 9/11.
I love the fact that so many...
Sarah Francois has a great point. She said you can go into a doctor and you can give them fake symptoms that you have that lead to Adderall, and that's how you would get it with a prescription. So you pretend that you have all the things that Adderall is for, and that's how you'd get it, sort of deviously. Thank you, Tamara.
People don't think that they're real.
They're real.
They're not
so
real. They're not real.
They're real.
Dude, Chauncey, you paid for your guests. I brought legitimate real people in here, and you're jealous because my bid was better than yours. You paid for your guests.
And you know something?
You paid
I'm
for your
shocked,
guests.
Howard. I'm
you paid them
shocked that you
$500
glorified
each.
these people and made them seem like there was some big prize when it really was a slap in the face to every 9/11 family and their
you know what?
First of all, I'm going to tell you something. Hold it. I'm going to tell you something about you.
Go ahead, shoot.
First of all, he brought...
The contest isn't good radio. It's this fight that's better radio than the actual contest. You got to give it to Chauncey for bringing the controversy. Nobody cared about him back then. He never got the credit he deserved. But now, thinking with a 2024 set of eyes, boy, was he good.
Yeah, without this, they would have just walked them in and then said... Fred would have done a stupid drum roll, and then it's Howard's getting, of course, the free content. That's the only probably reason he's letting Chauncey go on with this.
Would you agree
just to kill some time?
Would you agree to having Chauncey on when we go back to this next time?
Yeah. I'm 100%.
I know we can get him.
And we can come up with just fantastic questions. And I almost want to show him the questions beforehand, because a lot of these guys, you get them on, you start asking them these kind of questions. You're going back to 1998, 1999. They can't remember, and then they go, well, that time kind of reminds me of this, and you don't get the answer to the question if we send him if he comes on, we could come up with all these questions and say, this is what we're aiming for, and this is a lot to remember, to go back. So if you could think about it for a while, I think that would be amazing, because then he might go, I couldn't remember when I was reading the questions, and then I thought about it for a few days, and then I remembered that, Howard was still, Howard told me he could give you some big thing, like he said he's still married, but he's hooked up with this chick named Beth and all this stuff. He might come up with something like that, but he never has time to think about it.
Yeah, he had a history with Beth, because remember he interviewed her for stepping out. She had to take the one time she took public transportation out to Jersey.
He knew her. He used to see her at the bus stop, and that's crazy.
With Chaunce, he's burned every conceivable bridge you could burn already. There's no place he won't go. And he's gonna just be like, and he just likes that someone's interested in him. I think there's nowhere he won't go if he, like you said, if he remembers it.
Yeah.
Put in 2 guests, 3 guests, whatever. It was phenomenal television, phenomenal radio.
Right. I agree. It was great. Right.
Thank you.
Nobody glorified them. We interviewed them. That's number 1. You see it a whole different way. Number 2.
How do I see it?
You're the kind of guy, there's 2 different types of people in this world. You take a guy like, I would say this of Dan the Song Parody Man and Richard Christy. They would walk around trying.
Howard had you at Dan the Song Parody Man, Bon. You and Brendan. As soon as he said Dan, you guys just fucking perked right up and dropped what you were doing.
I recall going, this is my guy.
Ralph finished all over Howard's chest that morning while Wigward wore only that shirt.
Keep it clean, guys. Come on.
Trying to help the other contestants out.
Yeah.
Like with their production.
Which I did.
Some of the guys.
That's an exciting contest.
Wait a second. Dan the Song Parody Man said, for the good of the show, I want to see everybody do well. He helped them.
So did I.
You helped no one.
I voted for everybody.
You're rooting. That's not helping.
That's the easiest thing, Johnny, is tell your doctor you're having a really hard time focusing. And he goes to that. The guy I have is anti all that shit. He hates the drug of the month. He hates Adderall and he hates Ozempic. He talks about like how he's tired of these, like, the posers take, the drug of the month, and that we lock on the one thing and everybody has it and then it goes away. He hates both those things. The Adderall and the Ozempic. He hates both of them.
You wrote letters about it. You crack on Joey Boots' guest.
Dan did help me. Dan did help others. I helped others.
God forbid a contestant does.
Hey, Crazy Robin, hanging with Dan Cooper. That is a great reference, and just for that, you get one of these. You know where I'm going with this?
Hey, John and Sara, it's Holly Robinson Pete. How you doing?
Cut to Johnny Meyer's story about his bit part on Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
One contestant doesn't kiss everyone's asses and has an opinion. God forbid.
Look at
So what did you do? Say
Chauncey is right on the money. This is what we want. Right. He's right. This is what we want. He did not get credit for
I heard you wipe your butt with Chauncey's hat.
Yeah, they sent Chauncey out for an interview.
So they do this thing where Chauncey went out to get interviewed by, I guess, the E! Channel at the time, and they took his hat, and Sal teabagged it. And what if you did that to Howard's clothes? And Chauncey just kind of went, that's what, and he's laughing at it. Let's do that to Howard and see how that goes.
Yep. It go badly, very badly.
Right.
Like he can't have anyone taking his megaphone.
He can't even hold the megaphone, right?
Yeah.
Let's wipe your ass with Howard's scarf.
So I took his hat and shoved it up.
And I would, if I had to take a shit and I had no TP, I would wipe my ass with Howard's scarf in a heartbeat, especially if it were brown. No problem.
My butt. Wiped it real clean.
Yucko teabagged it also.
So I guess Chauncey really is an S-head, so to speak.
All right, well, Chauncey's a good sport. He did wear his dress and his pretty shoes.
He also had another theory going on today. He started with me, Howard, that you have some nerve to call him whiny because nobody's whinier than you.
No, but you know what? You really have whined through the contest. You got to be a bit of a sport.
Can I tell you something? It's a game, and you're trying to win. So if I took the wrong tack, that's your opinion. I tried my best to win this contest. And that was the
I think it's done.
Was done.
I feel confident. It's been a long.
I heard you wipe your butt with Chauncey's hat. wear his dress and his pretty shoes.
He also had another theory going on today. He started with me, Howard, that you have some nerve to call him whiny because nobody's whinier than you.
No, but you know what? You really have whined through the contest. You got to be a bit of a sport.
Chaunce revels in the sort of pushback and stuff. It's great. I mean, thank you, Rick the electrician. Thank you as always. Thank you, Sara, taking the time to bring us great content. Please don't take any meds that are gonna. I'm not gonna, Rick. I'm off that. Thank you You're absolutely right. I'm off it. I did toy with it for a while though, because I was in a really bad state and I needed something artificial.
Can I tell you something?
I still am in a bad state. I'm just able to rally for stuff like this once a week, or sometimes twice, if you include Patreon. But I'm probably 20% better than I was, like, say, in January.
Game, and you're trying to win. So if I took the wrong tack, that's your opinion. I tried my best to win this contest, and that was the angle I took. And you should be smart enough to know that, Howard. You should be. You said to me the first day, you said, Chauncey, it's how you play the game.
I thought those tears were real.
No, I was faking.
Okay. Dominic, you're on the air.
Real quick, I believe those guests were fake. I'm wrong. I met with the girl who claimed it was their daughter's parents. They are totally legitimate.
Thank you.
They were doing everything they said. She is a widow. They are crack addicts, and they did turn that kid onto coke.
I was over there.
Joey Boots was the moderator on Stern Fan Network during the time. So he was Mutt's second in command, and he would do the banning. I remember when Gary's father's funeral and Howard blew it off, the fans just all turned on Howard. They just started to fucking shit on him. And Stern Fan Network had a lot of power back then. And all these threads are popping up, and they just hated Howard. I'd not ever seen him get this deluge of hate like this in the entire time. And so Boots was just banning people. And I got banned as Arthur Curry. And then I came back as Arm, I think, like 2 days later. And they just did this whole thing because they were calling the shots. The Stern Show was telling them to ban anyone that was bashing Beth. So it was people were, because Beth showed up at the polo match. So the pictures turned up of her at the polo match, and then an ad turned up in one of the Hamptons papers, and everybody was posting those pictures, and he was just banning everybody. Mutt had told him to ban everybody.
It was the beginning of the end.
It was 06. I think it was the fucking summer of 06.
So they definitely want to come back on the show. It's like, how come Howard hasn't called us up yet to be on the show?
Why are they in jail?
What do you mean? Because what law did they break? You have to actually see somebody.
PCPBO, who is a cop, who's an ex-cop. Thank you for your service, sir. I got amphetamines on Groupon. You pay to fill out a questionnaire and FaceTime with a nurse practitioner for 10 minutes, and it's a joke. God, if I were a cop, PC, I would be so on the take. I would be so shaking down drug dealers for money. Yeah. I would do so much
bad lieutenant sort of stuff.
My God, I would be way worse than bad lieutenant. I'd be hideous lieutenant. Oh God, I would do that so much. Who cares, right? Where does the money go, right? It's gotta. Well, you keep it. Cops are underpaid anyway. You keep it. I don't give a shit. Do you care as a civilian that cops keep drug money? I could give a shit. Keep it. Keep it. Keep all of it. I want them to keep it. See, I'm not a badge money per se, but I am in that. I say, I don't know why they don't. I hope you kept anything you confiscated. PCB, I really do.
Do something. You know what? I could come on this show and say I did.
All right. It's time to find out who got John's job.
Listen to these statistics.
Only one can win.
Let me introduce everybody. Thanks, Sal.
Yes, thank you, Brendan. Bruce Hornsby did I thought you said Jack Straw. Oh shit, I looked at that wrong. God damn it. Yeah, Bruce Hornsby did on an album called Dedicated. He did a Jack Straw, which is my favorite. You'll love this, Bond. It's a song about a prison break.
Yes.
Grateful Dead song about it. Could easily be about Mayor of Kingstown. They should play that on the Mayor of Kingstown soundtrack.
I think Christy's voice, I don't like his personality. He sounds like Cecil Turtle from the Bugs Bunny.
So Sal doesn't like Richard here. This changes mightily as they start working.
But as I said, great productions and
all right,
thank you. And that's it.
As I said, the number one guy got 30% of the vote. The number two guy got 24% of the vote. And Sal, you came in second place.
We're supposed to think Richard got 30% of the vote with all these guys that you all know from the show. He's having you believe Richard Christy got 30% of the vote in 2004.
I wish I had them all on hand, like edited down clips of their submissions, because it's just hard for me to remember. I think they were all terrible anyway.
No, Sal was great.
He
was
was
easily
just prank
the best.
calls to Gary, though, wasn't it?
Just everything he did during it was he was just so prepared, and he pretty much killed in all the categories they wanted him for.
The fix is in. Richard Christy, you have
Joey Boots actually screaming out the fix is in.
won.
Wow.
As if we all
Two great champions. Richard Christy, I'm going to bring in the people from Trim Spa. You join our family. Yeah. Obviously, they don't need Trim Spa.
You don't get them.
Yeah, you don't get them.
These two look like Star Jones just a month ago.
25 grand is what they got. So this is supposed to be John's salary. It's Win John's job contest. So this is them claiming this is what John got. 25 grand.
Lord.
Like to start or something.
Richard, how you feel?
Just blown away. I can't believe this is happening. 3 months ago, I was listening to you on my headphones, digging ditches in Florida. And
Hey, congratulations to Richard Christy, but when you mentioned his name and announced him as the winner, it's like all the air went out of the studio.
That's exactly right. This is what you feel when you're like, what am I listening to?
That sounds like this guy, John. That sounds like this guy.
You lie all the time.
Kind of sounds like him.
Dan the Illini fan.
Complete vacuum. No one cheered. No one anything.
I think it was a big stun because it looked like Sal was going to take it based on a lot of the calls. But
That test was fairly done, was shown in the fact that I think 9 of the 10 staff members voted for Sal, but the
I put that in just because Gary said 9.
staff members voted for Sal, but the audience voted for Rick.
the calls, but
that test was fairly done, was shown in the fact that I think 9 of the 10 staff members voted for Sal, but the audience voted for Richard.
Trim spot.
Nah, you just wanted to say that, anybody could have done what Sal does all the time. Christy did it. Okay, I'm going to say now, please don't hang up on me now when I call because I'm being honest, but I really don't think you were all that. I think you're creative, you're talented, but you
Yeah, Joey Boots is a real piece of shit, GK. Big racist piece of shit, too. Him and High Pitch Eric. There's something I had. They were yelling the N-word at, God damn it, was it Lenny Kravitz? Lenny Kravitz was getting hate calls from them, and they were calling, it's a crazy segment. No one talks about this. It's right around this time, too. It's like from like 04 or something. It was Lenny Kravitz called in to defend something, and Howard put calls to it, and they called him the N-word over and over again.
rode Sal's wave and Dan the Song Parody Man's wave. That's my honest opinion, okay? And that's what everybody else here thought, no matter what they say. Howard, I want to be a moderator on your website.
Okay, that's when howardstern.com had a message board for 5 minutes, and they couldn't take it because, the fans were getting, and they shut it down. Howard had it killed within, I think, 2 weeks or something. I don't even think it went a month. Yeah, here's Marianne. Sal hates Marianne, by the way, here. I did not know this feud. This is interesting.
Thank God it wasn't Sal, Howard. That's all I would have needed. You made my day. The America voted. Sal, you blew it too bad, baby. Richard, thank you.
You're a cackling whore. Go home. You're a cackling whore. I hope you choke on Kobe's you-know-what. You're a cackling pig. Get lost.
Screw you, Sal. You didn't make it, baby.
Yeah, well, at least I was in the top 10. What were you doing, filleting people on 42nd Street with that cackling voice?
All right.
What is the deal between those two?
There was is going to be.
Yeah, PCPO is right. Joey Boots used to come on the howardstern.com message board, bulletin boards they called it, and leave his PayPal information so he could party. And oh God, I remember that. God damn, you have some memory. Jesus Christ, what a shady era that was. Studies have shown that most physicians will prescribe a drug when asked by the patient. It's why they're only first world country allows prescription drugs to advertise on public television. Yeah, that's true. Sara says, Joey, remember Boots' cat Timmy? I'd watched his live cam. Oh my God, that's right. He had a fucking webcam before, that stuff was big. And so he got all the Stern fans were just desperate. and thirsty for anything, and he would. Oh, I can't believe you remember that, Sara.
It's classic Sara right
It
now.
is. Sara was like, she knows as much about it as anyone of this era, and then she kind of fell off as you went to Sirius, but she has pockets of knowledge, but she knows everything about the pre-Sirius era. Thank you, Rick.
Good.
Thank you, Rick.
I still think of myself as like in my early 20s.
What made you get that drop? That's so funny.
I don't know. It's just back in time, I guess.
So do you want to end it here, or do you want to
Yeah, we can. Yeah, man.
It's been
what are we up to? Nearly 3.5 hours. We've given our best.
Good evening and welcome to Fox.
That's from the open to Deppening.
He's so young.
I know.
Oh,
he's 24 there, I think. When he did that, that's when he had to play ball for Fox, and he would do promos and stuff. And this is the Deppening. Let me see if I can. I got so much still here. I got so much still to do. Sara, that was a great Robin Quivers video, and Bon Jovial put together a phenomenal public domain music, because I didn't want you don't know what it's like to get a Korn copyright. That would be fun though, to see Korn give you a copyright strike. Wouldn't that be great? Also, Bon, I had the Howard 100 news report of the death threats to Chaunce for next time.
Oh, beautiful.
What's important is it is copyright free.
This is, hold on a second. Vinny, it's Mark. Dearest viewers, a new month and a new show. If able, please donate to the Arm Fund, which is how your host gets paid. Super Chat, Venmo, Cash App, or memberships. It all counts. We'll all go. Now put your face in the buttermilk and take a sip. Oh, I love the knee. Welcome to a new arm venture. How do you keep the music playing? How do you make it last? How do you keep the song from playing too fast?
Oh, that was
Bon, do you have anything
beautiful.
you want to promote or talk about? Do you have anything like a bit you want to put? You have anything?
No, I've got some excitement for. I'm going to do a little what's the word I'm looking for? An explanation of the drop next show, which is the Katie Aldana drop, which
Did you ever see that Fred had a show, Bon, on 101? They did one show with him, The Power of the Drops, and he was explaining his process.
Oh, no. I couldn't imagine anything worse than him explaining it. Oh, God, it must have been terrible. But I'm going to do that evolution or explanation of the drop, which is this famous one.
There's nothing better than Aldana infiltration.
So I'm going to show you, that was during the Depp trial, but I'm waiting until Katie is on. I was looking and she wasn't there, so I'm going to wait till she's there, because there was some confusion about it. I was trying to explain where it came from, and she was in a chat a few months ago when I played, and I gave the explanation. She was like, no, he cannot be right. And now I have the evidence. Bon Jovial's got the solution on that one, so that'll be a little segment, and that's it from me. But your
does everybody feel like Y.68 does, knowing what Howard is now? I can't enjoy the old stuff. Does anyone feel?
Oh,
it's a very valid
I
feeling?
do too.
Welcome, Y. No, go ahead, Bon. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I could never watch the classic stuff again. I'm just bored of even though, Artie, Disneyland, High Pitch Mike.
Yeah, no, that's our job, and that's our job here. We're going to get at stuff that isn't beat to death like that. I know what you mean. You're tired of the same old, bro fight. I know what you mean. That's what we're doing here. We're not going to do that stuff. I know exactly what you mean. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I do. Yeah, you're spot on.
The same stuff. The Cardoza Hotel. I know what you mean.
Crazy Robin, you're so right. Bon Bon has tickled our asses with a feather, I guess.
Yeah,
by
you're always the
giving.
Emily Stern stuff is.
Oh, we're kicking that off next time. So we had a bit of Olympics and, of course, chutzpah to get through. So next time we're gonna go back to the start of Emily's YouTube career and just start there. And
you are the dream I never knew I had.
Where would you rank that one versus, like, say Zuzazu?
I think Zuzazu's the best thing of all time.
It is
incredible. Like, I can't believe she recorded it. It's got the engineer. The recording of it's fantastic. It's bizarre. There's sounds of wildlife in the background. It sounds like you're down by a river or something. It's so weird.
Even better than this?
Wow.
Sexual, spiritual, sexual, both ending up. Spiritual, like hell, the name of God, my breasts, my white shining legs, my vagina, my ass are all godly. Breast in Hebrew, God in Hebrew, Shaddai. Shaddai in Hebrew also means my breasts. God. My tits inside God. My tits are godly. My tits are God. My tits inside God. My tits are godly.
That's absolutely insane, isn't it? I don't blame Howard for being completely freaked out.
Well, it's all about him. She's rebelling, right? I mean, he ignores her, and this is my statement to you, and I'm going to do whatever I want. And the worst thing she could have is that, right? Being nude in a play in Manhattan, and he's going to Sirius, and Stacey Augman comes in, and Ramil Robinson comes in, and it's crazy, right? Kevin Willis and Dominique and John Koncak and Antoine Carr and Cliff Levingston and everybody. It's crazy. You know that. Here's a little tease. I just want to take everybody back to the late 80s. That's what I'm trying to do. This is our opening for the Deppening. And I do it similar to this each time. And I was bragging to Sara how I was so proud of myself. I spent 8 hours trying to find the original trailer for this episode on Fox. So I went through hours and hours of commercials from 1988 until I found it.
This is what we do. If people don't realize, like, I know exactly, like, to find this the explanation of the drop, I had to go through the Depp trial video. I went through all of them. Oh, well, the first, I knew it was in the first week or two where you said Aldana infiltration to find the part where she's talking to you.
I'm amazed
and
how you do
that took me hours. I was fast forwarding through it, just looking at the comments up on the screen because I knew she was part of you were talking to her. So I was just like going fast forward. Took hours. I finally found it. It's crazy what we do. 24 hours. It doesn't surprise me. You pull the most insane hours for this stuff.
I'm amazed. I think about that all the time, that you're going through 4 hours of a show specifically looking for a 2-second phrase. And I know how hard that is, right? And you could just spend you get OCD and you have to follow through with it after a while. Is Emily any better than, say, Sammy Green from Curb Your Enthusiasm doing this for Ted Danson and Mary Steenburgen?
You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. I love you, baby, and if it's quite all right.
Is this any better?
You are the dream I never knew I had.
You know what? It's the way it's funny. Because Sarah's in that show too. The way she sings is just the way he would sing as well. Like, remember in Superbad when he's in the house party that they turn up to, and the guys want him to start singing, and then he starts singing in a really awkward way. It's exactly the way that girl sings. It's funny that they're both on the same show because I can see him doing it too. What season's that from? Because I need to watch that show again. Was it season 1 or 2?
No, it's later on. It's way later on. It's like 7 or 8 or something like. This is my favorite.
No,
this one's the best. It's just me. It's I was singing this the last 3 days, probably to the most annoying degree, but I couldn't stop.
Oh, gee, Officer Crop, gee. Crop you!
That's the same guy.
Do you know West Side Story? Officer Krupke. So Larry was obsessed with any. that was Carol Leeper, by the way.
Oh, gee, Officer Crop, gee. Crop you!
That's the same guy.
the girl. That's the best part. That's the
Larry
same guy.
with kids. Larry with kids is the best part of that show. Anytime the juxtaposition of Larry around kids. So just gave you a little prelude of a Deppening, and this is it's going to take you back to the late 80s.
York. Good evening and welcome to Fox.
Welcome to a kingdom where everybody's treated like a king.
For Trump's Castle reservations, call 1.
Bon, I always get a kick out of the woman singing that like earnestly. She's looking for a gig, like she wants to be a pop star, and this is the only she does commercials, and she can sing as well as anybody can, but she just didn't get signed, and she's sitting there in the studio with the headphones on, and she has to pump this out earnestly. I just love that vision of
800-441-5551.
Introducing the new Fox Saturday lineup. If you don't believe what kids do on Double Dare, wait till you see what grown-ups do on Family Double Dare. Next, Chance falls in love till Booch steals his girl.
This is a Matthew Perry sitcom, Bon. Rest in peace, Matthew Perry, and this is on the original Fox. And he and Depp are friends, and they had the same publicist.
Someone's going through the roof on
Boys Will Be Boys, 8:30 Saturday night on Fox, 1988. And look at this next one. I forgot about this, if I remembered it all.
Boys.
You remember Douglas Barr from the fucking Fall Guy, Howie?
I never watched that.
Okay.
Will Be Boys. Then, a mission to destroy a Nazi mining camp brings unexpected backup for the Dirty Dozen. Your kids.
Dirty Dozen, the TV series on Fox. Look at this. I completely forgot about it.
Classic nights of television. Remember back in '74, CBS brought us a Saturday night with All in the Family, MASH, Mary Tyler Moore, Newhart, and Carol Burnett. Remember Thursday in '85.
Thank you, Tamara Francois. Great job in the chat, you and everybody else.
With NBC's Cosby, Family Ties, Cheers, Night Court, and Hill Street Blues. But in '88, who'd have thought the best night
The best part of this, look at Depp on the cover of Us magazine.
for television would be found in a brand new place?
Look at that.
Oh my, that's the way.
10 sexiest. Yep.
It's the way we're always remembering.
Let the good times roll!
Gary Shandling's show is amazing. He's such a comedic innovator. Seinfeld ripped it. Gary Shandling's show was Seinfeld before Seinfeld, but with the fourth wall. It was a show about nothing. Him and his wacky friends doing nothing. And in a lot of ways, it was fun. It's a phenomenal show. He's such a comedic pioneer. It's scary. That was the Gary Shandling show before the Larry Sanders show.
Yeah, I've never watched that, and after this show, I'm gonna go and get it.
Yeah,
I've only
great.
watched
It's
the
so
Sanders.
clever.
If it's
Yep.
anywhere near as good as Larry Sanders, which is incredible.
I should say this too, just to bring it back to Howard a little bit. So Howard's late night pilot is exactly when this is. So Fox started a new network. They thought Howard was going to be a late night host. And you saw that series of pilots he had. It was like 5 of them, I guess. It was it was 87, 88. Tracy Ullman, you're really talented, like Martin Short, but does anyone care? I'm not sure they do.
You've heard about it from the critics and your friends. This summer, discover it for yourself. The sensation of Fox Sunday night.
So I went and found all these, like, hours and hours of looking through. People just had, like, they dump out their VHS tape and they upload it to YouTube, and I'll say Fox 1988, and I'll just go through the whole thing.
That's what I
love this one. I love this one.
Busted!
That's a pretty good Pee Wee Herman depth there, huh? That was good.
So embarrassing.
And I know more about suicide than you ever will.
Sexy.
Wow.
Different.
Funny. Got the whole house to myself.
Tina Marie.
It's like I died and went to hell.
So Johnny Depp and Christina Applegate were kind of like the prom king and queen of the new Fox network, and they were putting asses in the seats. Between those two. So Depp brought in the broads, and Applegate brought in the horny teens.
Unpredictable.
And that launched Fox. All of it. There would be no NFL. There'd be no Fox News. There'd be no any of this shit. I mean, they launched Fox Sports. Like that all grew because they started it.
Classy. Sunday on Fox. There's nothing else like it on television.
Un miembro del Comando Especial.
This is so Bon Jovial. So this is Shot Through the Heart on a Telemundo did a 21 Jump Street commercial live, and they used Bon Jovi to do a montage.
Beautiful.
Look at this. I found this in like whatever over the weekend, the 12 hours.
Suicide than you ever will. Sexy.
It's not sexy though. Where did they get that from, John? Where did they get sexy from?
Street helpless.
Max wanted. So it's
like it on television.
Un miembro del Comando Especial se ha infiltrado para desbaratar a una peligrosa banda, pero el acusado resultó ser él. Ahora solo piensa en huir de la policía y recuperar un viejo amor. Otro espectacular estreno de Comando Especial con el Teniente Fuller y los oficiales Jameson, Penfold, Yoti y John. Este domingo a las 8.
I'm tired of putting my butt on the line for complete strangers. What is wrong with you?
Are you dying of AIDS or what?
Sunday.
Okay, so this is the trailer I spent 8 hours looking for. It's 20 seconds.
Sunday, two lovers sought for murder, and Judy Hoffs is about to become their next victim. A deadly kidnapping that'll leave Jump Street helpless.
Doug, it's me. Just do what he says, okay?
21 Jump Street, Sunday at 7 on Fox.
Hey, John and Sara, it's Holly Robinson Pete. How you doing?
Okay, so I'll just jump to the. Hey, again, thanks. I happen to love that episode because it's a character. I just want Sara to talk. Yes.
Okay.
Shit, I gave it away.
There, it's just right here.
Isn't it amazing? I remember that. I was right on the money. Instead of me bragging. All right, I'll stop it there. So I just wanted you to hear that Sarah's in that. So you get to hear the lovely Sara, and David does the Weintraub segment. He tags out to Sara and she comes back in. I suggest it's a shitty episode, but we made it pretty good, I think.
You did your best.
What was that dildo machine?
What's that? What was that, Sara?
What was that dildo machine?
All right. So I would like to, Bon, anything to plug at the end here?
No. Thanks for listening, everyone. And I hope you have a wonderful night.
Sparta chiming in at the end. Applegate had cancer twice, and she has now lost her will to live. I think she's starting to get really, she's just, she's fought too long, too hard, you know? Sebastian Bach. Everyone, I want to thank everyone for everything and your great comments. And the next one we're going to do, it's next week. We're going to try to have Chaunce on to speak to this. And I am going to play this on the way out.